So welcome to Stamford Bridge then. Premier League football on 5 Sports Extra this afternoon. It's Chelsea against Brighton, and plenty of subplots surrounding today's matchup between these two sides. Chelsea need a response, there's no doubt about that, after a feeble performance against Newcastle United. And Brighton, with the first win at Nottingham Forest in the Premier League since late September, they're starting to find their stride once again. Here come the two sets of players, led by today's referee Craig Pawson. The Chelsea players splitting over to the right hand side of the halfway line, and the Brighton team over to the left hand side. It's a quietish atmosphere around Stamford Bridge at the moment for a 2 o'clock kickoff. I'm Sahel Sahi, and alongside me Adrian Mariappa, the former Premier League defender, played over 150 times in the top flight for Reading, Crystal Palace and Watford, and currently at Salford in League 2. What are you thinking about this afternoon, Adrian? Chelsea really do have to bounce back, and Brighton are starting hitting their straps once again.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with that. You know, I was reading over Reece James's programme notes, and you know, he was talking how important it is to have a performance today to bounce back to the levels that, you know, they know they're capable of. You know, they took a lot of confidence from the Man City game, showing that, you know, they can really, you know, turn the screw and they are a top team. But you know, the last game, you know, that will be hurting them. So being back at home, you know, they'll be wanting to put that right. And like you said, Brighton in good form, especially in Europe. You know, obviously above Chelsea in the table as well, so I'm sure they'll want to stay there.
Let's talk about Chelsea first, as the two sets of players shake hands. It's the Rainbow Laces match day today for Chelsea, and we're also going to remember Terry Venables ahead of kick-off as well, with a minute's applause. He played here at Chelsea, as you probably know, unless you haven't picked up the news. Terry Venables passed away last Sunday, aged 80, the former England manager and Tottenham manager as well as other clubs, Barcelona as well. But he played here at Chelsea, so we will be remembering Terry Venables just ahead of kick-off. Chelsea, though, every time, Adrian, it feels like 2 steps forwards, 1 step back today. It's almost like they have to bounce back every time they play.
And I think that has been a recurring theme. But I think you have to remember, when you sign so many young players, you know, they are young talents, consistency is often the problem. So I know they'll be relying on people like Thiago Silva to help them with that, but you know, the levels of the Premier League are going up and up, and if you're off it for one game, you know, you can get punished. So I think they're just coming, you know, they're finding that out themselves, and like I said, they're still adjusting.
And Brighton, if they can get some players back from a real lengthy injury list, you sense they'll have the quality to move up the table. They're currently in 8th. If they win today, they climb above Manchester United into 7th place. But you have a feeling if they can get a lot of their players back, and they've got a huge injury list, they've got real possibility to finish back in the top 6.
No, certainly. And you know, obviously we already mentioned about how well they're doing in Europe, but you know, they've got a young squad, but they've got real depth there as well. But the injuries they've had, you know, are to some key players, but they're coming back now, and you expect that to really bolster them. And you know, they'll be going into this game and the rest of the season, I imagine, with a lot of confidence.
Just having the toss-up between Adam Lallana and Conor Gallagher, who's the captain today for Chelsea. Reece James is suspended, and so is Mark Cucurella, the former Brighton defender. Leslie Ogchukwu as well, another player who's missing out today due to suspension. Out with suspension for Brighton, Lewis Dunk, he's missing, and also Mahmoud Dahoud. So the two sets of players are now lining up on the arc of the centre circle, and we're about to have a minute's applause for the late Terry Venables, aged 80, passed away last Sunday, the former England, Barcelona and Tottenham manager, and he started out his playing career here at Chelsea. Terry Venables then. Whenever I think of Terry Venables, I always think he was as cool as the King's Road itself. Passed away last Sunday at the age of 80. So we're live here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea against Brighton in the Premier League. 5 live football from the BBC. We're on 5 Sports Extra this afternoon, over on 5 Live right now. 2 o'clock kickoff, Liverpool against Fulham, and then from 4:30 Manchester City take on Tottenham. You can listen via the app. Bournemouth against Aston Villa, and West Ham and Crystal Palace. We're off and underway. Chelsea are attacking from right to left as we watch this game in the lower tier of the main stand, right over the halfway line, and Chelsea are attacking the shed end in the first half. I'll run through the lineups in a moment as Jason Steele, all in orange, clears over to the left hand side. Lallana with an early touch in midfield, rolls it back to Julio. He's under pressure, so it goes all the way back once again to Steele. I thought that was a heavy touch from him. He got away with it. It's played across the back 4 to Van Heck and on to Veltman. Veltman does give it away. Mudryk, sliding challenge, wins the ball. Babaliba has gone down in a heap. He's a big muscular midfielder playing in that back part of midfield alongside Adingra as well for Brighton, as they just bring the ball forward midway inside their own half. Very early stages here. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0, and Brighton in their away strip of black and green striped shirts, white shorts and black socks, and Chelsea in their home strip of blue shirts and shorts and white socks. Seems pretty quiet at the moment around Stamford Bridge, Adrian.
Yeah, and Brighton just settling into their customary build-up play. You know, they wait for it to draw the other team out, but Chelsea did start on the front foot.
And here come Brighton on the attack down the left-hand side, just outside the penalty area. It's Adingra. He's forced once again outside the area, plays it into Gilmour. First time onto Lallana. Nice little flick by him to Ferguson, left side of the penalty area. Good challenge from Badiashile. Doesn't wait for Robert Sanchez to get there. They got in to a mess. I thought Sanchez came out and clattered Adingra. He went down inside the 6-yard box. The ball's gone out of play. The referee's just telling them to wait for a moment. I think it will be a free kick to Chelsea, which they take. What did you think of that, Adrian?
Yeah, it was a great turn from Evan Ferguson first, but it was great defending initially, but then you can see there was just a mix-up between Sanchez. He comes flying out of his area, doesn't get anywhere near the ball, but it was great defending in the end. It didn't look like a penalty to me, to be honest.
The referee's waiting. There is a VAR check, and we're underway. Referee is Craig Pawson today, so Robert Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper, clears right-footed, and it's a free kick. Is it, or is it it's a Brighton ball over on that far side? Raheem Sterling is getting in the way of the free kick, which wanted to be taken quickly by Hinshelwood, but he rolls it all the way back to his goalkeeper. So Mauricio Pochettino, the Chelsea manager, he makes 4 changes from the side that lost against Newcastle last weekend. Axel Disasi comes in, Colwill, Caicedo and Mudryk. Reece James and Mark Cucurella are missing due to suspension. So is Leslie Ugchukwu, and Cole Palmer, he's on the bench. He picked up a knock during training in the week. Here come Brighton right below us on the right hand side. They have possession inside the centre circle, sprayed out to the left hand side to Adingra. He's been busy in these early moments. 0-0, cross comes in to the near post. A measured clearance from Colwell, right-footed, out towards the right-hand side, shaved off the head of Sterling, and it's out of play. So Robert Sanchez is in goals for Chelsea. Back for Disasi, Silva, Badiashile and Colwell. In midfield, Fernandes and Caicedo. In front of them is Sterling, Gallagher, the captain, and Mudryk, with Jackson up front. As for Brighton, 5 changes from the side that won away against AEK Athens in the Europa League on Thursday night by 5-0. Jason Steele, one of those changes, he's in goals. Veltman, Van Heck, Julio and Hinshelwood make up the back 4. In midfield it's Baliba and Gilmour, with Buonanotte and Adingra either side of him, with Evan Ferguson playing behind Adam Lallana, the captain. So 5 changes for Brighton. They have possession down this right hand side. Infield it goes, just outside the penalty area. It's Buonanotte and he falls onto the playing surface, looks up at the referee, Craig Pawson, almost pleading for a free kick. He's ignored. His countryman Fernandez picks up the ball, drives down the left hand side, slams it out of play for a deflection, and his manager Mauricio Pochettino picks it up and rolls it back to Colwell for a throw-in. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0. And what are your thoughts? It's just settled down, hasn't it? It's just settling down. It's quiet around Stamford Bridge, isn't it?
It is. I think Chelsea, you can see they're rolled up for the game. You know, they're trying to press with a real intensity. You know, the defensive line sometimes is, you know, above the halfway line. But Brighton are just picking them off at times in their build-up.
Chelsea come on the attack down the left-hand side. Colwell infield to Caicedo, former Brighton player, on to Gallagher, the captain. Chelsea in their blue shirts, shorts and white socks, attacking the shed end to our left-hand side. If you know Stamford Bridge, this famous old football ground in south-west London, opened in 1877 for football, has a 41,800 capacity, and it's packed to the rafters this afternoon for this Premier League encounter between Chelsea and Brighton. 0-0 so far. We've played 5 minutes on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Plenty of football to follow us and going on right now across the 5 Live network. Liverpool Fulham is on 5 Live, and on the BBC app, Bournemouth Aston Villa and West Ham Crystal Palace. And following us from 4 o'clock, FA Cup second round action, Wrexham against Yeovil. Wrexham from League 2 and Yeovil of the National League South. So more football on your dial. But right now we're here at Stamford Bridge for this Premier League game, and Brighton have possession out on that left hand side. It's Adingra once again, collects on his thigh, comes infield, lots of bodies in that central area of the pitch. It's cleared away by Fernandez over the halfway line, and Brighton will restart. Adrian.
Yeah, Brighton showing great composure on the ball. They're just gradually just pushing Chelsea back. You know, like I said, Chelsea trying to press with, you know, high line, high up the pitch, but you know, this the Brighton build-up, you know, is something to watch really. You know, they just draw them out, draw the Chelsea players out, play around them, and then just through.
Yeah, the captain Lallana had the ball. He's been dispossessed by a couple of Chelsea players. It's roll back to Thiago Silva. He's talking about him just ahead of kickoff with Adrian. 39 years of age and still playing. He's marking a player 20 years younger than him today in Evan Ferguson. Be an interesting matchup between them. But here come Chelsea down the right hand side. Sterling into Jackson, back to Sterling. Sterling right side of the penalty area, feeds it into the 6-yard box. It's cleared away at the near post, and it's out for a corner over on that far side just below the West Stand.
Yeah, Chelsea just catching Brighton on the break there, and I've got to say, you know, Sterling's been in great form recently. He looked really sharp there on just the 1-2 exchange, crosses the ball, but cut out really smartly by Igor at the front post, conceded a corner.
7 minutes played, Chelsea 0, Brighton 0, and it's a corner for the home side. Attacking the shed end, the 2-tier shed end in this first half. And it's Gallagher who will take it right-footed, out-swinging, 4-yard run-up, low in the direction of the near post. It's cleared away by Billy Gilmore onto the head of Gallagher, heads it infield, he's still chasing after it. Lallana sends it forward towards the halfway line, and Disasi clears back to his goalkeeper Robert Sanchez, who's wearing all yellow. Disasi back into the team because the club captain Reece James out suspended, and injuries have plagued him, Adrian, but they've slowly brought him in the last few games. You can see he's starting to get back to that fitness and that tempo down the right hand side. I'll get your thoughts on that in a moment as Chelsea break down the right hand side. It's Hinshelwood who comes and takes it off Sterling, but Sterling nibbles back, wins it again, goes on the outside, attacks the dead ball line. Well, a good sliding challenge from the young 18-year-old Hinshelwood, but concedes a corner to Chelsea. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0.
Yeah, Sterling playing like he's got a real point to prove. I imagine that, you know, he'd be disappointed at and not being included in that England squad. And like I said, his form's been good at the moment, but just there, you know, he's not giving up balls that probably lost causes. You know, his tenacity just to get the ball back there and then go straight on the attack. You know, he looks like he's getting back to his best.
So Gallagher will take it, cleans the ball on the top of his blue shirt, lays it down very carefully. The yellow football these days in the Premier League, as we're in the winter months, right-footed, looping to the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed away by the Brighton defence, only as far as Sterling. he switches it out to the right hand side where he finds his captain Gallagher, controls it first time. Brighton in a defensive formation, Jackson with a low ball into the near post, and well taken by the all orange outfit of Jason Steele. And it's something that Roberto De Zerbi, who we can see very clearly heads into the dugout, likes to do. He likes to change the goalkeepers up. Bart Verbruggen was the goalkeeper on Thursday night. He's made 6 Premier League starts. This is the 8th Premier League start for Jason Steele. Just a stoppage in play at the moment. Not quite sure what it is. Because we don't get any instructions, you never know whether there's a VAR check, whether they've seen something that we haven't, like a handball. But play's just stopped. The referee's just dropped it back to Craig Pawson. Roberto De Zerbi, Adrian, is doing what Mikel Arteta said he was going to do with David Raya and Aaron Ramsdale.
You just took the words right out of my mouth there. You know, that is like you said, Arteta did say that beginning of the season, but you know, I think it's quite clear to see that David Raya is number 1 now. But yeah, De Zerbi's definitely, you know, he chops and changes goalkeepers, and it's working for them at the moment, I'd say. So it'd be interesting to get his proper thoughts behind that process.
Yeah, it's fascinating because he is actually doing what Mikel Arteta said he was going to do. This is the 8th Premier League start for Jason Steele. As I mentioned, Verbruggen has made 6. He was the goalkeeper on Thursday night as well, as Badia Shield allows the ball to run across his body. Back to Robert Sanchez. Still awaiting the first goal of the afternoon here at Stamford Bridge. 11 minutes played between Chelsea and Brighton. Gallagher stretching out his left foot to control and rolls it back to Thiago Silva, and Disasi fires it into the central area of the pitch. Sterling gets there before his marker. He goes down, and referee now stops play. There was no advantage there for Chelsea, so it's a free kick for Chelsea, just 5 yards away from the halfway line on their right hand side.
Yeah, it was a bit of a late challenge, I imagine. The way Sterling started the game, you just want to leave your mark on him, you know, if you get a chance, and that's all that challenge looked. It wasn't too naughty, but obviously a little bit late. Yeah,
that was Hinchelwood driven forward. Mudryk has it. Good sliding challenge from Veltman. Went in 2-footed actually, but he won the ball. Looked like he went in 2-footed, and he's cleared it out of play. Mauricio Pochettino, the Argentinian Chelsea manager, having a word with the 4th official. Should be fiery on the touchline. An Argentinian up against an Italian, Adrian. I can see you smiling.
Yeah, I was just that challenge there is a full-blooded challenge, you know. It was a ball there to be won. I think his trailing leg just came round as well, so maybe it appeared to be 2-footed, but great tackle in my book.
So throw-in for Brighton. Right in front of us on the right-hand side. Brighton in their away strip of green and black striped shirts with white shorts and black socks. The ball runs out of play. Lots of throw-ins at the moment right below us here on the right hand side. Roberto De Zerbi just handing it to Joel Veltman. It's been a relatively tentative start from both sides. 0-0. And they're the Brighton fans you can hear singing, occupying the 2 tiers of the shed end to our left hand side. It's split in half because you've got the Chelsea fans there as well, sitting and partly standing as well in some of those rail seatings we have in Premier League grounds. Brighton have possession over on that far left hand side. Onto a dinger it goes, just outside the penalty area. Now flights a ball in the direction of the near post. It's headed away by the Chelsea defence, and then Disasi gets it at the second attempt. Mudryk runs into the brick wall that is Baliba, but it's fired out to the left hand side by Gallagher onto Jackson. Everything to his right hand side. He does come in field. Now Fernandes gives him an option, but he just had his head down really. He had Mudryk to his right, Sterling to his right, Fernandes to his left. He just ignored them all and got into trouble.
Well, he's cut inside there, and then I think the ball's just got stuck under his feet, so the touch has killed him really, and it's a wasted opportunity because you think that was a great break. You know, they were attacking in numbers there, like you said, people were flying past him there, but you know, a bad touch come inside and the attack goes to waste.
There's 3 other Premier League games which kicked off at 2 o'clock. Jackson just picks it up. just outside the penalty on the right hand side. Now finds Sterling, short and square to Sterling. Sterling falls down inside the penalty area. Bit too easily. Or was it just outside the penalty area? It looked to be just outside.
Yeah, it was definitely outside, but there wasn't enough contact there for a free kick. You know, he's tried to buy one there, and the referee's not gone for it.
Brighton regained possession. Bournemouth against Aston Villa. That you can listen to that on the BBC app. West Ham Crystal Palace, that's also on the BBC app. Liverpool Fulham is on 5 Live, and from 4:30 Manchester City against Tottenham. We're on 5 Sports Extra, also via BBC Sounds this afternoon, watching Chelsea 0, Brighton 0. Wrexham and Yeovil to follow us at 4 o'clock in the FA Cup second round, and then NFL action as well, 9 o'clock tonight. The San Francisco 49ers at the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a huge NFC clash, that one. Caicedo rolls it out to the right hand side to Sterling. He attacks the penalty area, heads towards the dead ball line, gets the better of Gilmour, stands it up towards Mudryk, but it goes over his blonde hair out the penalty area. Fernandes wins it back for Chelsea. Left hand side, one step over. Now Colwell into Mudryk. First time out to Fernandes. He controls with his light blue playing boots. Out to Badiashile, and Chelsea have possession. Midway inside Brighton's half. Central area of the pitch. Very cagey between these two sides so far. Mudryk controls on his chest. Left side of the penalty area. Dinks it to the far post. No one was there, but no nonsense defending from Julio, the Brazilian centre half for Brighton. Clears it out for a corner, the third from that right hand side in this first half for Chelsea. Adrian, 0-0.
Yeah, didn't want to take a chance there. He's good defending in the end, but yes, every time the ball's gone out to Sterling, just looks like something's going to happen. At the moment, he's just been the difference in this game, and that whole move started from just getting the ball out to him quickly, and he's 1v1 at his man, and he's one of the best in the Premier League at that.
Chelsea made 4 changes, Brighton have made 5 changes. It's goalless, corners taken high to that far post. Badiashile controls it, flicks it over his head, header goes in. That's a nice goal, and it's Enzo Fernandez. Slides down on his knees, celebrates in front of the shed end, and Chelsea have taken the lead. Created by Badiashile, headed home by Fernandez, and Chelsea lead. After 17 minutes, it's Chelsea 1, Brighton 0.
Badiashile does terrific in this. I mean, all of these corners so far look like they've been hung up the back post for him, and he really fancies himself. So he wins the first one, but it just goes straight up in the air. He manages to hook the ball without actually doing a bicycle kick. You can see it there, straight up in the air, waits for the bounce, good touch, holds his man off, hooks it back into the area, and Enzo just gets a little bit of space and nods it home. But he's done terrific there, he has, the centre half.
He really did well. He got onto it initially with his head. It looped up rather than anywhere in particular, so it's just outside the 6-yard box, and it flicked it over his head, almost like a bicycle kick over his right shoulder, and Fernandes was the liveliest to head home his first Premier League goal of the season after 17 minutes, the Argentinian, and he celebrated with the lower tier of the shed end, and Chelsea have taken the lead at home to Brighton. They've only won once here all season in the Premier League, Adrian, and that was against Luton right at the end of August. It's been a long time since these Chelsea fans have seen their side win here at home in the Premier League.
Yeah, and that's something that's become unheard of in recent times. We're so used to Stamford Bridge being a real fortress and a tough place to go for the away team, so I think that will have calmed a lot of nerves, maybe a bit of relief for the Chelsea fans as well.
And they come forward again with Jackson inside the penalty, one step over and a second, 6 yards away, pokes it in, a header comes in at the near post. It was saved on the chest from Steele, and it was headed. Fernandes was there once again, took a deflection, it's out of play. That was Fernandes' first ever Premier League goal, and he nearly got his second there, Adrian. Really good work by Nicholas Jackson, couple of fancy step overs, and he was 3 yards away. It rolled onto the chest of Jason Steele. Fernandes did get ahead to it, but it was deflected out for a corner.
Terrific work by Nicholas Jackson. He just nicks the ball off Van Heck out wide and then runs it in 1v1, like you said, 2 brilliant step overs, goes outside him, faces up the keeper, just rolls it past Steele, but Enzo couldn't just get enough on it there just to direct it in.
Fernandes would have been like a London bus. One doesn't come for ages, and then 2 come back to back. Corners being taken, headed away by the Brighton defence. Caicedo now heads it out to the right hand side. Sterling has it, patient, tries to get past Hinshelwood, and well-timed challenge over on that far side by Joel Voutman, who's playing as a right full-back, but he's helping out on the left-hand side. Sterling, low ball into the near post, and it's a sliding challenge from Julio, and he clears it at that near post. Jackson was waiting, and so was Disasi as well, inside the 6-yard box to pounce for the second.
Yeah, once again it's a recurring theme now, just Sterling just getting down the outside of his man there, terrific ball through to him, and just sliding the ball across the 6-yard box. But Eagles done brilliant again, just cutting it out at that near post, but conceded another corner.
Chelsea on top, they lead by a goal to nil, 20 minutes played, 5 Sports Extra live Premier League football this afternoon from the BBC. Corner on the right hand side, Gallagher drills it into the far post, headed back into that far post, and it's gone in. Has it gone over the line? Oh, it smashed the side netted. Yes, it has gone over the line, according to the referee Craig Pawson. And it's Levi Colwill who goes away celebrating, and Chelsea are 2 up against Brighton, just like that, in a flash, after 20 minutes. And it again has come from a corner, and the ball crept over the line, and Craig Pawson is looking at his left wristwatch to indicate to the Brighton players that the ball did go over the line. And it's Levi Colwill who's been accredited with a goal, and it's Chelsea 2, Brighton 0.
Well, the Chelsea set-piece coach will be absolutely beaming. They're really targeting that back post area. Nicholas Jackson rises high at the back post, just heads it back across goal. Levi Colwill with a terrific jump at the back post, holds someone off, directs the ball straight to goal, and the ball does go over the line. Terrific goal, but like I said again, the set-piece coach here, he'll be beaming. They've obviously worked on this, see where Brighton are weak, and they're targeting that back post, and it's worked twice.
It's a day of firsts. The referee just waits for a moment, and we restart, and we can clearly see that the ball did cross the whole of the line. The whole of the ball must cross the whole of the goal line, and it clearly showed that as well. And Levi Colwill with his first Premier League goal as well for Chelsea. First for Fernandes, first for Colwill, and Chelsea in control at home for once in the Premier League since the 25th of August when they beat Luton by 3-0. And now you can hear the home support, Adrian Mariappa.
Yeah, you can feel it's like the relief. You know, they're really coming into their own now, the home fans. I think, you know, not winning here for so long, but now the way this game's panning out so far, it seems like they're going to have an enjoyable day. You know, you mentioned control of the game. Chelsea haven't had loads of the ball, but they look like in control, you know, without it. Their team structure and the way they're set up so far has been brilliant.
So Chelsea on top. They've got 2 goals, Fernandes and Colwill, and they lead by 2-0. And Brighton will not go away from the way they play. You can see that straight away. They'll be patient, won't they, Adrian? They're taking the time. They're building up from the back.
They are, and mentioned it before, it's just the way that De Zerbi likes to set his teams up. You know, they try and draw you in, they wait for you to press, and then they just play around you and then use the overloads. And, you know, like you said there, they won't come away from that. They've been in control of the ball in this game, and that's what they want to be doing. That's the way that they play, and that's the way they'll feel they'll get back into this game.
Given possession weight, Caicedo to Fernandes, and Fernandes plays it behind Sterling on that right hand side. It's a throw-in which Brighton will take in a hurry now. De Zerbi just having a word with a couple of his assistants. It's his 7th job as a football manager. He's done remarkably well so far here for Brighton on the south coast. Their first ever European adventure. They're through to the knockout stages now post Christmas. And they've had it tough this season, and I think it's fair to say, Adrian, it's partially due to the huge injury list that they've got. They've got the ball just on the edge of Chelsea's penalty area, and Disasi's trying to win it back from Baliba. He turns away and he gets foul tackle, but he grabbed the ball. He was quite fortunate there. If the referee didn't blow the whistle for the tackle, he would have blown it for handball.
Yeah, I think he was always going to win the free kick there, so he knew what he was doing by grabbing hold of the ball. But Disasi very aggressive in his defending there, and you can see that's been a common theme of the way Chelsea have set up. Like I said, you know, they started off with a high press, have dropped off a little bit, But when the ball comes in their zone, everyone is at it. You know, they're very aggressive trying to win the ball back.
That's the voice of Adrian Mariappa. Played in the Premier League for Reading, Crystal Palace and Watford. Currently plays for Salford City in League 2. Into Miami next, Adrian. I'll get your thoughts on that in a moment. The corner's been taken, drifted into the penalty area. It's cleared away first by the Chelsea defence, and then it took a deflection. No, I thought it might have took a deflection off the blue shirts and shorts of Chelsea, but it's a goal kick to Chelsea to our right hand side. Robert Sanchez, the former Brighton goalkeeper, who Chelsea signed in the summer, the number 1 now here at Stamford Bridge. Into Miami next for you. They've got a connection, Salford and into Miami. They have, haven't they?
Yeah, maybe you can put in a word for me there. So
with old Mr. Beckham. Wouldn't be a bad location, would it?
Oh, playing in the sun, not bad at all, is it? Next to Lionel Messi as well.
Yeah, and a few others as well. Gallagher pointed to the ball. The referee didn't agree, so it's a free kick to Brighton, just inside Chelsea's half, over the halfway line, down the left-hand side. It's taken quickly. They're not waiting around. They want to make things happen. They did win last week away at Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. Their first win in 7 Premier League games in 2 months. Actually, their last victory before last Saturday was at home to Bournemouth at the end of September. They're trailing by 2-0. Adingra's been caught offside, so it's a free kick to Chelsea. My little video printer is seized up at the moment. I wanted to give you some latest scores in the Premier League. Bournemouth, Aston Villa, that kicked off at 2 as well. You can hear that via the BBC Sport app. And West Ham, Crystal Palace, and Liverpool Fulham is on 5 Live. Manchester City, Tottenham to follow at 4:30. I'll get that working for the second half. Sanchez nearly got the ball underneath his feet. He did miscontrol it. Got away with that, Adrian. You're shaking your head.
He did. He's had a few nervy moments this season already, and you know, the start of the game he had a little bit of a nervy moment, but just there, the ball just gone under his foot, and it looked like it was going to go over the line, but he looked like he was cool as a cucumber there.
Yeah, he was on the edge of the 6-yard box. He trapped it, tried to trap it with his studs. It rolled underneath him, and he was about 3 yards away. I think his studs took the pace of the ball off.
He did, and even when he turned, he's then chipped it over to clear the danger. So he was cool, but the rest of us in here thought it was a bit more nervy than he made it look.
He's already played against Brighton in the colours of Chelsea. They've met each other in the League Cup this season. It was the 3rd round. Chelsea ran out winners that evening here at Stamford Bridge by 1-0. Nicholas Jackson scored on that day, and Chelsea are leading 2-0 today. Fernandes and Colwell with the goals. If you're just tuning in to 5 Sports Extra from the BBC, Premier League football, Chelsea 2, Brighton 0. 27 minutes played. Chelsea attacking from right to left. We're perched right over the halfway line in the lower tier of the main stand. Chelsea attacking the shed end in this first half, wearing their blue shirts and shorts and white socks, and they've rolled it all the way back to their goalkeeper, the Spanish international Robert Sanchez. Infield it goes to Fernandes, stepped up. Good interception by Julio. Tried to pick out the young Irish centre forward Ferguson, and he was intercepted, and Caicedo goes down. The late transfer window buy, and they're starting to find their feet, aren't they, here at Chelsea in their positions. We know, we talked about that, they're erratic with their form, but you can see what Pochettino's trying to do, and when one player's out, he drops the other one in, and everything seems to be working. Like today, Cole Palmer is out, so Mudryk comes in. Yeah,
like you just said there, you know, you can see the shape, you can see what's expected from, you know, everyone in their positions. You know, they're young players, so they're not going to be as consistent as they will do towards the peaks of their career. But yeah, like today when you seeing gelling when they're out of possession, they look confident going forward. You know, they look really, really dangerous.
It's a Brighton player. It's a Van Heck who is down at the moment. Play was stopped. Colwell charged forward. He ran into Van Heck more than anything else. That was right, wasn't it, Adrian? He was over the halfway line. They just collided. I think the knees met. It's a bit of a collision, isn't it?
Yeah, just a coming together there. But it looks like he might have just rolled his ankle a little bit. Obviously Colwell just driving forward there, real purposeful run, but overran the ball a little bit, so just a coming together. Two people committed to a tackle. He's up now, and I'm sure he'll shake it off.
So we're approaching the half-hour mark here on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC, live at Stamford Bridge. Premier League football, Chelsea 2, Brighton 0. If you're just joining us, Enzo Fernandez with the first after 17 minutes, and then Colwell with the second 3 minutes later, and Chelsea are on top and in control. Brighton being patient, building up from the back, and Buonanotte has it, and he's been sandwiched between Colwell and Gallagher, and the referee saw that, and then Van Heck comes racing to the referee to have a word, and now De Zerbi is having a chat with Pochettino, and the fourth official, who is today Michael Salisbury, he's just in between them. Buonanotte still down. That was a late challenge. It will be a free kick for Brighton, won't it, Adrian?
Yeah, Colwell just has to be careful here. He's done a strong challenge. It looked like Gallagher from the front as well, so he just got sandwiched a bit there, Buonanotte, and yeah, it was Gallagher from the front. It did look a little bit high, and he's received the caution for it. Probably rightly so as well.
When you watch it back on the monitors and it's slowed down, it always looks a little bit naughtier, nastier, doesn't it?
It doesn't. I think that's the problem, when we're talking about VAR, slowing down, the tackles and having still images, it always looks worse. And that's the thing, at the time, it just looked like a coming together, of two players making an honest challenge for the ball. But like you said, you slow it down and it always looks worse, always looks naughtier. Yeah,
Buonanotte has got up, thankfully. It'll be a free kick to Brighton. 15 yards away from the halfway line and 15 yards in from this near right-hand side. Brighton started this afternoon's game 3 places above Chelsea in the Premier League table. They'll stay above Chelsea no matter what, because they've got 22 points from the 13 games. It's week 14 of the Premier League. Chelsea in 11th on 16 points. They've lost 5 games this season. West Ham away, Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa and Brentford here at Stamford Bridge, and then last Saturday away at Newcastle. When you just thought Chelsea were hitting a bit of a rhythm and their straps, they've conceded 4 goals in their last 2 Premier League games. I'll be surprised if they concede 4 today. If they do, we're going to see a rip-roaring second half, aren't we, Adrian?
Yeah, I mean, Brighton, I think they've scored in their last 17 games or something, so they'll fancy themselves to score. But the way Chelsea are defending at the moment, I can't see them conceding 4 goals at the moment, I've got to say.
Buonanotte come racing on. He had a collision with Colwell. It's getting a little bit spiky out there, and spiky on the touchline as well between Pochettino and De Zerbi as well. A couple of conversations between the Argentinian and Italian. The Italian De Zerbi's more front-footed than Pochettino. I've noticed that. Pochettino allows him to come and have a word. Pochettino concentrating on the fourth official more than De Zerbi. Free kick for Brighton on the halfway line, out to the left-hand side, and it's Adingra. Collects it on his right foot, comes infield, drifts the ball into the near post. It's headed away by Thiago Silva, only as far as Buonanotte. Now to Veltman, just outside the penalty area on the right-hand side. Comes infield to Baliba. Baliba muscled out by 2 Chelsea players, but he wins it back and he concedes a free kick for tugging. I did think he lost control of the ball. He won it back, but he won it back unfairly so, according to the referee. And Brighton, they get up to the penalty area, Adrian, but then they seem to be, at the moment, not creating anything and not having that imaginative spark.
Yeah, I think they've obviously, like you just said, their build-up play is terrific. They can get through Chelsea at times and really penetrate and, like I said, get right up to the final third, but they haven't done much else since there, and Chelsea have always looked comfortable. That back four looks really, really confident at the moment. They're dealing with everything that's thrown at them. But on the flip side, Chelsea, pretty much doing the opposite there. They're counter-attacking well, and they look really dangerous when they get into the final third.
It's a mildish afternoon compared to the cold weather we've had recently. Slightly overcast. Where we're sitting, it's quite difficult to look above the stand, which is directly above us. But I've got a little room, a window that I can see. The floodlights are on now here at Stamford Bridge. Just spots of rain, but it's quite mild from the cold weather we've had recently. And Brighton are offside. You're not missing much while I'm trying to be Michael Fish, the weather reporter. But it's funny your body, isn't it, Adrian? It's a free kick for Chelsea on the edge of their own penalty area. How when you go through a cold snap, you come out the other side, you actually feel warmer, don't you?
I don't know about that. When I'm cold, I'm just cold. I don't do. You already mentioned Inter Miami. That made me feel warmer.
I'll have a chat with David Beckham and crew, and let's see what we can do. If you do go, get me there as the club commentator for Inter Miami.
Oh, well, there you go. Get me in the door and I'll sort that out for you.
10 minutes to go in the first half. That's the voice of Adrian Mariappa alongside me on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Premier League football this afternoon. Chelsea leading Brighton by 2-0. 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes. Enzo Fernandez with his first goal in the Premier League for Chelsea, and Levi Colwill as well. 2-0, and they're in control, and they're defending at the moment on the right hand side. Sterling flicks the ball round the corner, takes a deflection he thought off a Brighton player. Referee and assistant don't agree, so Brighton have the throw, and over on that far side, their left hand side, they play it across their back four. Comes centrally now to Ferguson. He's had to come really deep to collect the ball. He shouts where he wants it. Buonanotte comes in field, gets away from Colwill. Colwill snapping away at his heels, plays it into the central area of the pitch. Caicedo goes through the back of Lallana. Referee agrees. It's a free kick to Brighton, and it is starting to get a little bit more lively, isn't it? A few late tackles going in, Adrian.
Yeah, it's a tasty game. Like you said, both sides leaving their foot in when they can. Really going for it. Especially Chelsea. Like I said, anyone that comes into their zones, they're at it. They're looking to really put in tough challenges. The space, especially in the middle of the pitch, Enzo and Caicedo are really closing up that space. At any time Brighton come in, there's one person, there's another person just snapping at their heels. So it's making it really difficult for Brighton at the moment in there.
Jackson lost the ball inside the centre circle. He thought unfairly so. Pochettino and the home support didn't agree with the referee's decision. Players carried on, given away by Buonanotte. And now Gallagher has it. Gallagher turns away, midway inside his own half, down the left-hand side. Fernandez rolls it forward. It was telegraphed. Mudryk turned his back. Baliba picked it up. And now Buonanotte. Infield it goes to Gilmour. He's got runners to the left-hand side in Adingra. Adingra just outside the penalty, always wants to come in field, right-footed, way over the top into the lower tier of the Matthew Harding stand. You can see what Simon Adingra wants to do on the left-hand side. He always wants to cut in field on his right foot and have an effort, and that was way wide, 25 yards out on the angle. It's a goal kick to Chelsea, and they lead Brighton by 2-0.
Yeah, it's the first time he's had some real space to actually, get his head up and either get a cross or a shot in, because previously Diassi's been really tight to him, or he's been caught offside a couple of times as well. Yeah,
Fernandez nearly gave it away. This is all going on in Chelsea's 6-yard box, eventually cleared very calmly and casually. Round of applause from Pochettino to his goalkeeper Robert Sanchez. Chelsea on the attack down the right hand side. Disassi with a forward ball. It's been intercepted by Hinshelwood, but he gets it back. Gallagher rolls it now all the way back to the halfway line. Thiago Silva switches the play to this near left hand side, and Badiashile has it. Tall, elegant centre half. Fires it out left-footed to Mudryk with black gloves on. One step over, comes in field with his blonde locks. First time by Silva to Gallagher, and now out to Disassi. Fires it back in to his captain. This is good by Chelsea. They're comfortable. They're in the lead by 2-0, and they're in control. Badiashile over the halfway line. Mudryk turns in field, gets away from that one. That was neat. Central area of the pitch. Right-footed shot. Oh, just wide. Only a couple of inches away. That was sparkling football from Mykhailo Mudryk. He turned away from Voutman, attacked the penalty area. Right-footed shot. 25 yards out. Just wide. Chelsea lead by 2-0.
Oh, that's a real top bit of play from Mudryk there. He gets the ball. He's facing away from goal. Does a little turn. Gets away from his man, and to be fair, I thought the ball was going in there. He's hit it from 25 yards. Real confident play by him, but You know, those are the little glimpses he shows sometimes.
Yeah, Brighton have given the ball away on the right side of the penalty area. Sterling tried to sneak a cross in, and it's well defended by the Brazilian centre-half, Julio. I think that's the best bit of football we've seen in this first half after 39 minutes. Real quality, Adrian Mariappa from Mykhailo Mudryk.
Yeah, like you said, real quality there. The game has been, you know, at times a little bit scrappy, a bit stop and start. You know, two teams trying to implement their game plan on each other, but that there, a little bit of quality in the pocket from Mudryk, gets the turn, so sharp on the turn as well. He gets away, there's no one really catching him. But and the hit, I thought it was in from here. So he'll be a bit disappointed not to hit the target.
You can see he's starting to find his confidence, isn't he? He's had a tough time since he joined Chelsea. Everyone thought he was going to join Arsenal and then joined Chelsea. It's been difficult for him. Played under a few managers in Frank Lampard and now Mauricio Pochettino. But I can sense he's starting to find his feet and his confidence. And Mauricio Pochettino is very good at that. The free kick's been taken by Brighton. It's headed away by the Chelsea defence, and Caicedo stands on the ball just outside the penalty area. That's when you know you're a top-class player. You have time to just stand on the ball using your studs on the edge of your own box, Adrian. And he took his time, allowed the Brighton press to come to him, and he just rolled it back to his goalkeeper.
Yeah, and it's something we're seeing more and more in the modern game. Centre-halves just putting their studs on the ball, but there's no man cooler on the pitch than Thiago Silva.
Sanchez clears out to the right-hand side. Sterling tries to get on the second ball. It's picked up by the Brighton midfield with Gilmour. And now back to Van Heck, just inside his own half, right of the centre circle, and out to this near right-hand side for Brighton in this first half. They're attacking away from their fans in the shed end towards the Matthew Harding stand, if you know this famous old ground in south-west London. Fully enclosed, floodlights are on brightly, approaching that time of the year when it gets dark. After around about 3:30, 3:45, the night starts drawing in. Shadows on the pitch from both sets of players, and Brighton, they won't hide away from the way they play. They won't lose their patience. They'll build up from the back despite trailing by 2-0. Adingra over the halfway line on the left hand side. 3 minutes to play in the first half. It's Chelsea 2, Brighton 0. Premier League football on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Hinshelwood controls. I thought it was a heavy touch. Got there before Sterling. Chelsea just allowing Brighton to have the ball. Everyone's in front of Julio right now in a blue shirt. He edges forward just outside the centre circle, inside his own half, and Chelsea allowing Brighton to have possession.
Yeah, they're very happy for Brighton to have the ball where they are right now, but they're just setting traps of when they can win the ball, and when they decide to go and win it, you know, they're coming full-blooded with it, and more often than not they're actually winning the ball when they do set those traps.
It's out to the left-hand side into a centre area of the pitch. Now Lallana out to the right, just inside the penalty. It's Buonanotte, left-footed, right behind it. Lovely finish from the young Argentinian. And Brighton are back in the game just before half-time. He received the ball on the edge of the area, dipped his left shoulder, just a few inches of space, and a left-footed curling ball past Robert Sanchez. A fine finish from the young man. Chelsea 2, Brighton 1.
Yeah, we've seen only a couple of moments of real quality today, but that was one of them. You know, it's the first time I think he's been 1v1 against Colwill today. The one place you don't want him is cutting inside on his left foot, and that is a real sublime finish. The ball starts off outside the post and he just drifts it back in. No chance for Sanchez there.
In the 44th minute. And it's always a good time to score. I know it's a great old cliche in football. It's a good time to score for half time. It's always a good time to score, and a goal like that as well, out of absolutely nothing. Chelsea seemed to be composing their defending. It was Lallana who found it. Mudryk's bursting down on the left hand side. Oh, he's took a deflection. Fantastic save by Steele. Extended his left arm out, low down to his left hand side. It's cleared just outside the penalty area. Now Fernandes onto Thiago Silva. He drills it forward to Sterling. On it goes to Jackson into the near post. And Jackson was surrounded by a posse of Brighton players. And it's cleared away out for a goal kick. I thought it would have been a corner. No, it's a goal kick. It's Chelsea 2, Brighton 1. And going back to that goal as we see Mudryk firing in that ball into the near post. Fantastic extended left hand from Jason Steele. But what a fine finish, Adrian. We were right behind it and he whipped it past. It reminded me of Norman Whiteside in the FA Cup all those years ago. Manchester United against Everton when he drifted in on the left hand side. Do you remember that, or you're a bit too young?
That's a bit before my time, that one. But it was a terrific finish. I was saying the one place you don't want him to come is just to drift inside you and whip it round you there.
Oh, it's the red card. It's a red card. Conor Gallagher, I believe, is the Chelsea player who has been shown a straight red card. The Chelsea captain. Foul tackle Billy Gilmour, and he has been sent off. What a twist just before half time. We've got 5 minutes of stoppage time to play at the end of this first half, and it was Gallagher who went through the back of Billy Gilmour. He did collect the ball. It's being checked. Straight red cards are checked via the VAR. The VAR referee today is Jared Hille, and it's being checked, but Conor Gallagher has been shown a straight red card and he's heading towards us here in the main stand. What did you think of that? He collected the ball, but he went through the back of Billy Gilmour.
He did. He looked like he was just stopping the break, but I think that's harsh, that is, for me. I mean, I know he's come through the back there, but like I said, he did collect the ball. I can only imagine the referee just maybe the intent that he's gone in with. But even still, to me, for a straight red card, it did look harsh.
So VAR must have checked it. We've seen it again. I'm really surprised that's a red card, to be honest,
can't believe
Adrian.
That's a red card.
And I'm really surprised on check. He won the ball. He did win the ball. If anything, okay, it was a foul tackle because he went round the back of him. A yellow card at best. It's a yellow and a red.
I'll be honest,
that's his second yellow card, so it is a red, but that's the reason he's been sent off. I'm still not sure. I'm not saying every tackle is a yellow card, but that one is giving it us. But I think that's harsh.
Yeah, because I think he's not timed it badly. So he has won the ball. He scooped it round. I think he would have felt hard done by even getting the free kick against him. But second yellow, to me, that's very harsh.
Yeah, sliding challenge. He's gone off because he basically went behind Billy Gilmour on the challenge, and that's the reason he's received the second yellow, which he called a red. I did not see the referee hand out the initial yellow, but I saw the red card come straight out. But I still think it was quite harsh when you watch the replays back. The VAR referees, Jared Gillet and the Australian, and he must have checked and double checked as they do these days, Adrian. But it's a corner for Brighton. We're in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Chelsea leading Brighton by 2-1. Now it's 10-man Chelsea now, and a real twist in this game. Just quickly before this corner, Adrian, the referee's having a word with Veltman and Robert Sanchez. Real twist just before half time.
Real twist, and yeah, split the game on its head, really. You know, Chelsea, after going 2 goals up, looking very comfortable. That beautiful goal they conceded there, but then they went back on the front foot as well. Nearly scored, still with an unbelievable save, and Lord knows how important that's going to be at the end of the game. But now, we're looking at a totally different game now. Yeah,
corners being cleared first time, and then the ball was fired back in, and Disasi with the clearance second time out to the right hand side. Lot to think for Maurizio Pochettino at the half-time break as Sterling picks out Fernandes just forward of the arc of the centre circle, out to Sterling again, and he was offside on the right hand side, and I can see a right smile from Roberto De Zerbi now, and a lot more positive half-time thoughts for him and for Brighton.
Certainly you'd feel the momentum is with Brighton now. Terrific goal which will lift their players anyway, but going in a man up as well. and a real positive feeling, like you just said there, going into half-time.
That was a shot fired in from the left-hand side, and it was by Ferguson. He wasn't far away, but Robert Sanchez had it covered at his far post. He picked it up from Adingra and he fired it in on the edge of the area, yet Robert Sanchez had that covered, and it was always arcing wide, and he allowed it. Actually, he watched it over his left shoulder as it ran out of play for a goal kick for Chelsea. Lots of the supporters heading into the gangways in this lower tier of the main stand here. We're into the final few seconds of time added on at the end of this first half. We had 5 minutes indicated from the fourth official. Chelsea 2, Brighton 1. It's 10-man Chelsea. Conor Gallagher, the captain, sent off, and now all of a sudden, for every single foul tackle you'll see now, Adrian, the players will be shown a yellow card. And I think that's a result of what happened earlier, because again, for me, that's not a yellow card, but the referee's shown Jack Hinshelwood a yellow for that. What did he do? He almost tickled Sterling, and Sterling goes there. If anything, Sterling should be shown the yellow card. Well,
Sterling's bought the foul. I mean, it's a foul because Hinshelwood, he's tugged him a little bit, but like you just said there, now the referees run the risk now of having to book people for those same things, and even stuff like that definitely wasn't a yellow card. The Conor Gallagher one, for me, it's not a yellow card. It's a free kick at best, in my opinion.
That's why I was so surprised in my voice when I saw the red come out. I missed him showing the yellow, and I saw the red straight away, and I thought a straight red for that. And then I looked down on my notes, and Conor Gallagher picked up his first yellow card in the 30th minute and the second in the 45th. So the captain's off. Thiago Silva takes over the armband, and it's quiet around Stamford Bridge as we play out the final few seconds of this first half. The visitors are on the attack down the left hand side. They come back into the central area of the pitch. A few whistles around the ground. Chelsea leading Brighton by 2-1, and there goes the half-time whistle here at Stamford Bridge, Adrian. 10-man Chelsea leading Brighton by 2-1. Strange, we've had a lot of incident, but it hasn't felt as exciting as the scoreline suggests, and also the sending off. But it's still Chelsea 2, Brighton 1. But I think Brighton are really going to come at Chelsea in this second half.
Yeah, this is going to be a real, test of character for these young players at Chelsea. They're really going to have to withstand a lot of pressure now, I can imagine. They didn't have a lot of the ball anyway in the first half. Brighton dictating large spells of the game. But Chelsea always seemed, very confident dealing with that. But a man down now, and Conor Gallagher as well, someone who was, he recovered a lot of balls for them, especially in the middle of the pitch. He can set the tone for them when they're trying to press. So I imagine he's pivotal to the game plan that Pochettino set out. So it'd be interesting to see now if they change anything shape-wise or player-wise, to see how they can, keep their game plan strong.
So we'll be back for more here at Stamford Bridge. It's half-time here. Chelsea, 10-man Chelsea 2. Brighton 1, so we'll be back here on 5 Sports Extra, but right now we can join the 5 Live team and Steve Crossman.
Dealt with well by Bassey at the near post. Offside flag has gone up anyway, and Fulham will get a free kick.
Yeah, he's just too eager again, Nunez. Just hold your run, just time the runs better. He's looking to get in behind, but you've got to be more clever and more aware of the defenders of Fulham. But lovely play by Szoboszlai and Mohamed Salah to get up the pitch quickly.
Freezing rain continues to fall here at Anfield. Darwin Núñez frustrated that the game isn't already back underway. Bernd Leno clears long downfield. Van Dijk up majestically to win the ball in the air. Gravenberch turns it round the corner. Tim Ream bravely throws himself at the ball to win a header. Nods it towards Iwobi, chased by Szoboszlai, held off by Alexander-Arnold. Runs it past Alexander-Arnold, but too far and out for a throw-in to Liverpool. Replacement ball immediately slung into the hands of the Liverpool right back.
He missed a trick there, Iwobi. Just throw the ball in your arms onto the pitch. Slow the game down completely. Don't let Liverpool try and get any momentum in this game.
Well, he's a good, honest, upstanding citizen. That's why, Stephen.
You'd have thrown the ball on.
Alexander-Arnold to Matip. Matip encouraged forward here, has an option wide to his right-hand side. Now the ball fired into the feet of Salah. Salah plays the 1-2 with Núñez. Here's Salah, right-footed volley, saved by Leno. Wilson miscues a clearance. The ball still loose inside the Fulham penalty area. Tsimikas just trying to turn on the edge of the box. Plays it back to Luis Diaz. Clever run made by Nunez. Nunez with a touch, throws himself to the floor. Never going to get that decision. And Bassi clears up towards the halfway line. Van Dijk, little 1-2 with McAllister. Across it comes to Matip. And back it goes to Kelleher. Bournemouth Villa, Aaron Paul.
Bournemouth 1, Aston Villa 1, 45 quality minutes of football. Chances are there, and Antoine Semenyo brought the deadlock with a classy finish in 10 minutes. Leon Bailey grabbed the equaliser, the cracker off the right for Villa. Diego Carlos thought he put the visitors into the lead. Luca Digne straying offside according to VAR. Emi Martinez has made several cracking saves, but at the break it is Bournemouth 1, Aston Villa 1.
Liverpool 2, Fulham 2. Soberslai, chip cross into the penalty area. Tsimikas waiting, might fall for Nunez. Deflected cross, Leno dives and grabs it in front of his goal line.
It's a couple of times Nunez has gone down now, simulating, wanting a foul. Book him. I'm sorry, but you've got to take it out the game, because if you don't, he'll continue to do it, and we don't want to see that.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. May well feature on 6:06 tonight in the feature of the simulation game. Chris and Robbie taking the calls 6:30 through until 8 o'clock after our Manchester City-Tottenham commentary. Darwin Nunez definitely a contender. Alexis McAllister trying to bring the ball away for Liverpool, has lost it. Andreas Pereira slightly miscues his pass out to Iwobi on the left. We've already played 10.5 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. Here's Pereira running across the face of the Liverpool penalty area, plays it to Tete, now to Wilson wide on the right. Pereira trying to turn, challenged by McAllister, clever from Tete. Flag goes up as Reed plays the cross. Liverpool allowed to play the advantage. Salah calling for it wide on the right. Gravenberch running freely, crossing the halfway line right in the middle of the pitch, delays his pass eventually. There's not enough on it to reach Salah, and the opportunity is gone. Ball is knocked out of play by Robinson for a Liverpool throw. Salah's throw doesn't reach Soberslai. Fulham intercept. Just a few sloppy mistakes in this first half by Liverpool. And here's Harry Wilson on the ball for the visitors. Lofts his pass to the left. Iwobi takes it infield this time. Plays back to Polinia, and eventually, after 56.5 minutes of football, the first half draws to a close. 4 goals in it, 2 absolute wonder strikes for Liverpool to take 1-0 and 2-1 leads. Alexander-Arnold with the free kick. Alexis McAllister with an absolute stunner from 30 yards. One of the best goals you will ever see. But Fulham have managed to grab 2 goals of their own, Stephen Warner.
Yeah, they have, and they fully deserve it. They fully deserve to be in this game. You could have sulked when the goals went in against you because of the quality of them, and you think, well, what do we have to do to get something out of this game? But they've used the ball so well when they've gone forward for them. They have also used that left-hand side, the right-back position of Trent Alexander-Arnold, knowing that that's where the space is. They've utilised that space. Iwobi's just stayed out and hugged that touchline, and it's given them an outlet every single time. But we've definitely got a game on our hands.
Certainly do. Looking forward to the second half. Harry Wilson and Kenny Tete, the scorers for Fulham. The first time they've scored 2 goals or more at Anfield since October 1966. Liverpool 2, Fulham 2.
Which has been the better goal, Stephen Warner?
McAllister.
I mean, both absolutely. And I thought last week was the weekend of amazing goals in the Premier League.
Yeah.
The technique, you can see the spin on the ball as it goes in.
Which one?
Yeah, good point.
Honestly, both of them are just brilliant in their own right, aren't they? I mean, the free kick from Trent Alexander-Arnold, the speed in which he gets it up and over the wall, the spin on the ball, the curl on it to crash it off the bar. Leno, outstanding goalkeeper, nowhere near it. And then McAllister's, as it sits up, often you'll think, I'm not hitting it, because we know it's going to go in Rosehead, it's going to go over, or we're just not going to catch it quite right. We saw Gravenberch try one in this later on in the half, and he completely got it wrong. But that strike was just beautiful from Alexis McAllister.
So we've had 2 absolutely amazing goals. We've also had one lovely storyline if you're a neutral or obviously a Fulham fan. We heard from Harry Wilson before the game. He was telling us about the sliding doors moment when Manchester United forgot to call him, and he ended up going to the Liverpool Academy. That will have been very hard for him not to celebrate.
Yeah, it will, but I understand it myself, because I've been there where I've scored against an old employee, and you do feel a bit bit awkward, but it was a lovely run from him off the back of Alexis McAllister. He finds himself in space in the box, and it's so instinctive, that little toe poke between Kelleher's legs. It's a really good goal from Fulham, and I think if we'd have seen it from Liverpool, we would have all been waxing lyrical, saying, oh, what about the ball out wide and the overlap and the running from deep to get in the box. Take nothing away from it. Outstanding team goal from Fulham.
And two other quick things. Firstly, VAR getting it right. We've got to talk about it when it does things right as well. Fulham would have been robbed of an important goal had it not been for VAR. And Quiveen Kelleher. We had the VAR decision to deny Tim Ream a goal that would have put Fulham in front, but that wouldn't have been needed without a great save.
No, wouldn't. And firstly, VAR, big pat on the back for them. They get that one correct. And Kelleher doesn't really cover himself in too much glory with that one. But the second save from Palhinha is an outstanding save, down to his right-hand side, off the turf, pushing it away to safety. On-rushing Ream is offside, which is a real shame from Fulham, but from Kelleher's point of view, great save.
Stephen, Ali, thank you very much for the time being. We've had 10 goals in our 4 2:00 kickoffs in the Premier League. Bournemouth 1, Villa 1, Chelsea 2, Brighton 1, Liverpool 2, Fulham 2, West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 0. Remember, all of them are live between 5 Live, 5 Sports Extra, the BBC Sport website and app. In the FA Cup, Eastleigh of the National League facing League One Reading. Let's check in there. Henry Moran.
20 minutes of the 90 remaining. Eastleigh 1, Reading 0, and Reading have just managed their first shot on target in the game. Sub Lewis Wing forcing a good save from goalkeeper Joe McDonnell, but Eastleigh deserved this lead. Could have been more, should have been more. Easily could have seen a hat-trick for top scorer Paul McCallum. He got the opening goal, the only goal in the first half. Eastleigh, good value for the lead, but things just getting a little nervy here in Hampshire. 69 minutes gone. Eastleigh 1, Reading 0.
Right, we've got a lot to get through before the second half kicks off at Anfield, including our first trip to the Etihad today, Manchester City versus Tottenham Hotspur in full on Premier League Sunday at 4:30 today. So we'll go there and pretty much everywhere else after the news with Richard Foster.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Steve. Good afternoon. The former Labour Minister Glenys Kinnock has died at the age of 79. She was the wife of Neil Kinnock, a former MEP, and she worked in Gordon Brown's government. She'd had Alzheimer's disease since 2017. Our political reporter Tony Bonsignori has more.
She was such a prominent political figure, both as the wife, the partner of the Labour leader, but also within her own right. She was an active politician for nearly 20 years until just around 16 or 17 years ago.
The Israeli military has issued further evacuation warnings to Palestinians around the city of Khan Yunis in southern Gaza, which has been bombarded for a third day after a brief truce with Hamas. UN officials say the Israeli orders are difficult for civilians to follow. Israel wants to destroy Hamas after its deadly attacks on the 7th of October. Heavy snows left 2,500 people in Cumbria without electricity. Several roads, including the M6, have been blocked by abandoned vehicles. Our reporter Eunice Muller is in Coniston and says disruption there is continuing.
Electricity North West have said that they're doing their best to try and restore supplies, but access to the damaged network continues to prove difficult, with a number of roads still treacherous. But I have seen drivers free their vehicles today after they were stuck. A number spent the night in their cars with limited water and limited amount of food.
It got as cold as minus 12 Celsius overnight. Yellow weather warnings for snow and ice are still in place for the northwest of England, the Midlands, the south and parts of Wales and Scotland. A man has been killed and 2 others injured in a knife and hammer attack on a street in central Paris. It happened near the Eiffel Tower last night. One of those injured is British. A 26-year-old French national who's known to security services has been arrested. And the Home Office says more than 500 people crossed the Channel in 11 small boats yesterday, despite thick fog and the freezing temperatures. French authorities also rescued 190 others who'd got into difficulties.
BBC 5 Live.
The voice of sport.
Coming up this week.
There's midweek Premier League action on 5 Live.
On Tuesday night at 8:15, Arsenal travel to Luton.
Stutters slightly and rolls it into the bottom left-hand corner.
On Wednesday night at 8:15,
Aston Villa versus Manchester City.
Haaland will score. Haaland scores.
And on Thursday night at 7:30, Everton versus Newcastle.
Gordon inside the penalty area. Shoots well.
5 Live, the Premier League.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
It is a cracking day of live football, but much else going on besides. Let's find out if England have just steadied the ship after losing some quick wickets in the West Indies. Dan Norcross.
Well, they sort of have. They're 146 for 3 at the start of the 23rd over, but it's been frenetic stuff. This is a very awkward pitch for batting on. It's very hard to find your timing. Zach Crawley's still there, but only just. He's 37 not out. He's been dropped twice. One an absolute sitter long on by Moti, another one at slip. So, look, it's hard batting conditions out there, and England are well ahead of the game. They're going at a lovely rate, but you could see a clatter of wickets later on here, and a par score of around 270, 280 is still some way off. 146 for 3, halfway through the 23rd over.
Thank you very much, Dan. Let's go next to the UK Snooker Championship final. It's the record 7 times champion Ronnie O'Sullivan playing Ding Junhui. Normally, Jamie Broughton tells us what the target is for victory. Today at the York Barbican, it's the magic number, isn't it?
It is. The magic number is 10. We've got 8 frames in this session. We've played 5 of them so far. O'Sullivan made a fast start. He won the opening 3 frames. He knocked in 2 breaks of 71, plus a 91. Ding then responded. He knocked in an 89. O'Sullivan then took the next after Ding broke down. He pinched it on the colours to go 4-1 up. Ding's had another chance in this, frame 6. Broken down again. O'Sullivan's back at the table here. So 10, the magic number, Steve. I'll say it twice for your benefit.
Thank you. You say it many times as you want. That's Jamie Broughton. Remember, you can watch it on BBC Two, the UK Snooker Championship final this afternoon. We've had loads of drama in the first halves of our Premier League games, which kicked off at 2 o'clock. There's already been a bit at the start of the second half at the London Stadium. John Hunt.
So welcome back to Stamford Bridge on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. The Brighton players are out, raring to go. They are trailing by 2-1. If you're just tuning into us via BBC Sounds or your smartphone or via your smart system at home, I put it on for my mum just before I left, Adrian. I think it was about 11 in the morning. I said to my mum, just leave it. You'll see me. I'll appear like magic at 1:55. It's like a little black dot. It's that Alexa, isn't it, in the middle, in the corner of my room. And it looks smart, and there it is. You can catch BBC 5 Sports Extra via that way these days as well. Just give you the latest scores if you're joining us from the Premier League. Bournemouth 1, Aston Villa 1. My video printer is working now. It wasn't working during the first half. West Ham leading Crystal Palace by 1-0. Liverpool 2, Fulham 2. And of course here, Adrian Mariappa alongside me. Chelsea leading Brighton by 2-1, but down to 10 men. Their captain, Conor Gallagher, is off. Just looking at the Chelsea lineup, seems to be no changes at half-time from Maurizio Pochettino.
Yeah, so like we said before, this will be a real test now for this Chelsea team. Started the game so well, looked in cruise control, but conceded and then, going a man down. The game will be very different in the second half, I can imagine. So a real test, but looking forward to seeing how they deal with it.
So we're about to get underway, and Chelsea will be defending the shed end in this second 45 minutes. Brighton get us restarted for this second half. They are trailing by 2-1, but their tails will be slightly up as Conor Gallagher was shown a second yellow card right on the stroke of half-time. Went through the back of Billy Gilmour. Adrian and myself thought so fairly. We know he won the ball, but we thought he just kind of shaved Gilmour rather than going right through the back of him. The referee didn't agree, Craig Pawson, and also the VAR referee as well, Jarrod Hille, the Australian. And Conor Gallagher is off. So no changes from either manager at half-time. So for Chelsea in goals, it's Robert Sanchez, their back forward, Disasi, Thiago Silva, who's now the captain, Benoit Badiashile and Levi Colwill. In midfield, Fernandes and Caicedo, with Sterling and Mudryk playing behind Jackson. Brighton have possession. I'll run through their lineup in a moment. Adringa has it, left side of the penalty, twists one way, then the other, heads towards the dead ball line. But Thiago Silva got his body between Adingra and the ball and shepherded it out of play for a goal kick to Chelsea, to our left-hand side. Chelsea lead Brighton by 2-1 here on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC, and a good positive start from Brighton, as you'd expect at the start of this second half. Adrian Mariappa.
Yeah, definitely. They've already got in behind that Chelsea back line. Obviously, they're going to adopt the same play that they usually do, playing out from the back and, very comfortable in possession and just picking when to go forward. The difference for Chelsea will be now that Gallagher's off the pitch, and he's been someone who has really set the tone of when they press and picking up on the times to go and do that and winning the ball. So with that man less in the middle of the pitch for them, they're going to be a little bit more open.
Chelsea have possession. Sterling fires it into the right-hand side of the penalty area, taken off Jackson's feet by Van Heck, and he runs outside the penalty in the left full-back area, plays it into the central area of the pitch. This is the calm, composed build-up that Roberto De Zerbi likes from his Brighton side, which is Jason Steele in goals today. Veltman, Van Heck, Julio and Hinshaw would make up the back four. In midfield it's Baliba and Gilmour, and in front of them Buonanotte with his first Premier League goal of the season for Brighton. Lallana, their captain, and Adingra with Evan Ferguson up front. Brighton on the attack just below the first tier of the shed end, the lower tier of the shed end. Loose ball by Adingra, swept away by Fernandes down the right hand side for Jackson to chase. He climbed all over Van Heck, and fairly so according to the assistant referee, but not with the Chelsea fans to our right hand side in the main stand. Jackson did roll the ball into the net, but I think whether VAR checked that or not, they won't allow that goal to stand. It's Chelsea 2, Brighton 1. Free kick to Brighton in their left full-back area.
Yeah, I think the referee had blown anyway. But it did look like Jackson just used his arms too much to get around Van Heck there. And Van Heck doing the right thing going down, because I think if he tries to stand up there, the free kick doesn't get given against you, or get given for you there. So he's played the game well there as well.
Brighton in possession. That was the voice of Adrian Mariappa. Plays at Salford in League 2, centre-half, Jamaican international. I was chewing his ear before the game about him playing against Lionel Messi, and the next time he comes up against him, grab his shirt for me. You've probably got a whole queue of people, as Robert Sanchez makes a save, flopping down to his right-hand side. Comfortable for him. Chelsea lead Brighton 2-1. You've probably got a whole queue of people who ask you that question, don't you?
For Messi's shirt,
yeah.
Listen, I tried once, and I think I was about 50th in the queue for that game. So,
did you really?
Yeah.
Did you?
So I didn't bother after that.
I've heard you're not missing anything at the moment. Chelsea have a free kick just a couple of yards shy of the arc of the centre circle inside their own half. I've heard if there's another Argentinian on the pitch, he'll give him their shirt first. But you were playing for him for your national side, Jamaica, weren't you? So you had a bit of a chance there.
I did, but everyone else thought they had that chance as well, so I think everyone asked.
So Brighton in possession. It's quite mild. It feels mild to me. Maybe I'm the only person who thinks it's mild on this first Sunday in December. We're into the winter months now of the Premier League season. The yellow ball illuminating under the floodlights. They're on brightly around Stamford Bridge. We're in the lower tier of the main stand. Brighton on the attack in front of the shed end. Overhit ball by Hinshelwood, trying to search out Buonanotte on that right hand side. And Chelsea, you can see, Adrian, you'll be very aware of this, won't you? You can see that they'll be taking their time over these restarts.
Of course, they'll be slowing the game down whenever they can. You can even see, the way that they're pressing. They're trying to not come out of position too early. Happy to just sit in, play a lower block, and just be hard to break down. Brighton at the moment trying to go either over the top of the fullbacks or trying to play clever little 1-2s, and then wing backs, the left and right back are really pushing high up the pitch to try and stretch out that back line just to get some space so they can get through.
Chelsea lead by 2-1, and they have a throw-in down this right hand side. They're attacking from left to right towards the Matthew Harding stand in this second half. If you know this famous old football ground, Stamford Bridge, Fernandes rolls it forward. Van Heck clears, almost falling backwards. Now Buonanotte, who got the goal for Brighton to get them back into the game after 43 minutes, and then Conor Gallagher was sent off on 45 minutes. 10-man Chelsea lead Brighton by 2-1. Premier League football from the BBC on 5 Sports Extra, and Ferguson ploughing forward. He's hauled down. It's a free kick for Brighton, and another yellow card for Chelsea, and it's Enzo Fernandez or is it Caicedo? But whoever it is, as we were saying just before half time, every foul tackle I think we'll witness now in the second half. I'll be surprised if Craig Pawson does not hand out a yellow card.
And that's just the problem, isn't it? I mean, it almost, he's gone are the days where he can make a tackle and it just be a free kick. You know, once he's dished out that first yellow and then the second one to Gallagher, now he feels obliged to keep giving these yellow cards out for every challenge if someone's stopping the play from going forward, etc. And that's what he's done so far.
And once again, it was Brighton's Gilmour who tried to get past Caicedo and Fernandes, and they kind of sandwiched him, but it didn't even really touch him. Caicedo didn't really even touch him, but the Brighton player went down, and the referee gave the yellow card. From the resulting free kick, they wasted it. It's a goal kick to Chelsea, but that's what's so annoying. And these yellow cards, they count. Today, Mark Cucurella is missing because of 5 yellow cards, and we know Reece James is out due to a red card. But man, you know, you get good players missing because of the top-ups of the yellow cards.
I think it just needs a bit of common sense. Like, you can see if there's an honest challenge. Or, you know, if you are trying to do, you know, a professional tackle to stop someone going through, but if you haven't gone to ground and you're making an honest attempt for the ball, there's nothing wrong with giving the free kick and then just leaving it at that, in my opinion.
So some latest scores in the Premier League. Caicedo, I've been told very kindly to my left-hand side, fellow journalist, that it was for dissent and not the foul tackle, Adrian. So Caicedo chatting back to Craig Pawson, and he's picked up the yellow card for that reason. Veltman now for Brighton down the right hand side. They're in their waist strip of red and black and green striped shirts with white shorts and black shorts, and they fire it out towards this near left hand side. Heavy touch from Baliba, taken away from Sterling. Sterling always busy, almost frantic the way he works the ball from right to left. Now Jackson running through the heart of midfield, plays it short and square on to Colwell, and he rolls it back to Fernandes, who scored the first goal today after 17 minutes. Colwell double the lead 3 minutes later for Chelsea. Buonannote's pulled Brighton back into the game. It's 2-1. Chelsea are down to 10 men. Conor Gallagher, the man sent off. Sterling turns and faces Hinshelwood, attacks him and the penalty area. He was helped out, Hinshelwood, by a fellow Brighton defender, and they win the ball back. Gilmour turns and he faces the halfway line, and it goes to Van Heck on the right hand side. Van Heck just outside the centre circle on that right hand side. Crystal Palace have equalised at the London Stadium. West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 1. That's over on the BBC Sport app. So is Bournemouth and Aston Villa. That's 1-1 there. And on 5 Live, Liverpool 2, Fulham 2. And here on 5 Sports Extra, we're witnessing Chelsea 2, Brighton 1. And Brighton are about to make 2 changes right below us. Adrian Mariappa and João Pedro and Karo Matoma. So no messing around from Roberto De Zerbi. Adingra controls left hand side of the penalty area, rolls it back outside the box. And now Gilmour once again to Adingra, facing up to Sterling, edges forward, 1 step over, heads towards the dead ball line, rolls it back to Gilmour just outside the area, dinks it out towards that far post, header wasted, out of play, takes a deflection off the blue shirts of Chelsea's defence, and it's a corner to Brighton in the corner of the West End and the shed end.
Yeah, it was a good bit of patient play from Brighton there, but well defended in the end, especially Colwell at the back post. Ball's gone over his head, but he manages to get something on it to deflect out for a corner.
It's a corner on the right hand side. One arm raised skywards. Here it comes, right footed out, swinging to the corner of the 6-yard box, still not cleared. It's gone upwards rather than forwards, and eventually cleared by the Chelsea defence. Out to Adingra again. This time he's got Badiashile defending. Well controlled by Lallana on his left thigh. Then he's spun with a right foot volley, but agonisingly wide if you're a Brighton persuasion, and it's a goal kick to Chelsea. They lead by 2-1, and here come the changes for Brighton. And what changes we have. They've got an injury list, but look at this strength in depth. Adrian Mariappa, Buonanotte, I'm surprised because he's looked lively and he's the goal scorer. He got them back into the game. He's making way for Mitoma. You've got Milner about to come on, Gross and João Pedro. I'll get your thoughts on that in a moment, because that's real strength in depth there. And Carlos Baliba he's making his way off, and that's Pascal Gross who will replace him. And let's see what happens with James Milner and João Pedro as well. So Aliba and Buonanotte are off. Is that Hinshelwood? It is Jack Hinshelwood. He's off, and James Milner replaces him. And finally coming off, João Pedro coming on. Just waiting for the fourth official. He said number 41. I can just see match of the day producer telling our colleagues high up in the stand who's coming off. Adam Lallana and João Pedro coming on. So Evan Ferguson will drop in behind Pedro, and Pedro will play up front, and Ferguson will play just behind him. That's some strength and depth, and they've got an injury list as well, Brighton.
Yeah, certainly, you know, some real top players there coming on, and you know, just trying to get a few more bodies up the pitch. You know, João Pedro coming on, being in great form in Europe especially.
Foul inside the centre circle, and a yellow card for the Brazilian centre half Julio on Mudryk. This time he did go through the back of him, no messing around from the Brazilian centre half. He was late, clipped his left ankle. Mudryk goes down, yellow card. It's very difficult in the second half, not making excuses for commentators. Subs come on, yellow cards happen. Matona, the Japanese international, trips on the ball, gets hacked down by his long-time colleague Caicedo. Referee allows play to continue. The long shadows across the Stamford Bridge pitch. Chelsea leading Brighton by 2-1. 10-man Chelsea 2, Brighton 1. We've played 13 minutes of the second half on that 5 Live Sports Extra from the BBC. Premier League football over on 5 Live. It's Liverpool against Fulham. Latest score there is 2 apiece. Brighton with possession. Gross has it, just down to walking pace. Left hand side, down this near side, over the halfway line for Brighton. Once again, recycle back to Gross. He fires it into Pedro, and Caicedo, no messing about, goes through Pedro. He needs to be careful. He's picked up a yellow card for dissent. And who's that yellow card gone to? He's picked up a yellow card for dissent, and I think that might be to Fernandes now for dissent. But Caicedo has to be careful, Adrian Mariappa, because a foul tackle like that, the mood that Craig Pawson is in, it'll be a second yellow and he'll be off.
He does, and he's given away, I think, the last 2 or 3 free kicks as well. So, you know, he'd be on a tightrope now, and the way that he wants to play, he wants to defend on the front foot. But he's going to have to tailor his game, because if they go down to 9 men now, you know, it becomes a real tough ask.
Free kick to defend. Gross flights it out to the right hand side. Adingra controls on his right instep. Veltman with the cross in, a lofted ball into the edge of the 6-yard box. Milner controls, takes a deflection, and it loops up and over the crossbar, almost shaves the net into the lower tier of the shed end, and it's a corner to Brighton on that right hand side. And all of the play, we're kind of on the halfway line, Adrian and I, but our direction is towards that left hand side in the shed end.
Yeah, so far, you know, Chelsea just having to defend their box now, and, you know, putting bodies on the line, blocks in there. You know, they're going to have to show real togetherness, because, you know, the subs that Brighton have put on now, I can only see, you know, the way that this game is going at the moment. They're going to have to keep defending that box and play on the counter-attack. Yeah, corner was well taken by Sanchez. He's rolled it out, underarm, almost like he's in a bowling alley on a Sunday afternoon. Now to Mudryk. Mudryk inside the penalty area. He's brought down by Milner. Is he brought down? It will be checked. Everyone around Stamford Bridge thinks it's a penalty, apart from the Brighton players and management team and fans to our left. Jason Steele's down. Mudryk, arms out wide in a V shape, looking at the referee. It's being checked, no doubt. It was a blistering counter-attack created by Sanchez, the goalkeeper, and Sterling, and then Mudryk. I think that was a good old-fashioned shoulder barge from James Milner. 10-man Chelsea 2, Brighton 1. Yeah, it looked like nothing more than, you know, legs coming together there. You know, Milner tries to get his body across, because there's only going to be one winner in that race against Mudryk. But that's one thing that Chelsea have in abundance. That front three, if Brighton leave space in behind, they have got the pace to punish. And, you know, on that occasion, you know, they got in behind. I know they'll check it, but I think it was good defending from James Milner.
Tell us what you can see right in front of us on the monitor replay there, Adrian. It was Milner and Mudryk, and I thought Milner used his body very cleverly. They are checking it very closely. There was no attempt to play the ball, if you're going to be really honest, from James Milner. I initially thought it was a good old-fashioned shoulder barge, but when you watch it back, he didn't really make an attempt to play the ball. He almost used his legs to usher Mudryk away.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's done there. I think he recognised he probably couldn't get the ball, and if he does make a tackle there, he's going to get nowhere near it. So he just tries to get his arm across Mudryk just to shepherd it back to the keeper. But what's happened then after that is their legs have tangled together, and I think that's where they'll be having a look.
And the referee has been told to go to the pitch side monitor. You can see the pitch side monitor over on that far side in the west stand. It's been raised up. We can see it from our position, Adrian. The referee, Craig Pawson, has been told by the VAR referee, Gerard Hille, to go over towards the monitor over on that far side, hands on his hips. He's watching what we are watching. Milner and Mudryk grappling over the ball, and it slid into the arms of Jason Steele, who flopped down on his left-hand side. It was a blistering counter-attack created from Robert Sanchez. He rolled it out to Sterling as if he was in a bowling alley on a Sunday afternoon. Sterling roared over the halfway line, picked out a Chelsea player. It was fired into Mudryk. Here's the shape of the television, and there goes the point to the spot, which means it's a penalty, and 10-man Chelsea have a golden chance to make it 3-1, and a Brighton player goes in the book, and it's Pascal Gross. Your thoughts, quite briefly, Adrian Mariappa?
Yeah, so initially I thought it was just the arm across, but as you can see from the replay, Milner then tries to step across Mudryk, and that's when the tangle of legs happened, and I think that's why the penalty's been given there.
Cole Palmer is about to come on. He's scored from every single penalty he's taken, and I thought he was coming on to take the penalty. Do you remember in the last Premier League game here at home to Man City when it was 4-4, he fired it in from the penalty spot, but it's Enzo Fernandez who looks like he's going to take it.
Yeah, Palmer's got loads of confidence in himself, but coming on at this stage in the game just to take a penalty with your first kick of the game, especially when you've got the likes of Enzo on the pitch who can take them as well, might be a bit of a tough ask for him. So yeah, they're going with Enzo. Loads of experience, and obviously he fancies it.
Yeah, here he comes, places the yellow ball very carefully, more carefully than he's done so for a long time, on the penalty spot. Looks like a straight run up. It'll be a 5-yard run up, hands on his hips. Jason Steele on his goal line, all in orange, his big white gloves. He points to his left. Here comes Fernandez, right footed, right down the middle. That's the third for Chelsea, and that's the second for Enzo Fernandez. And once again, in a trademark style, he slides on his knees and he celebrates with the Matthew Harding stand this time. And it's 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 1.
Cool as you like. Long run up. Had to wait a little bit as well to take it. He runs up, good pace in front, and just slots it straight down the middle. Waits for the keeper just to move a little bit, slots it down the middle. Terrific penalty. Great bit of composure from him.
He slightly went to the right of the ball. A good long run up, 5-6 yard run up, and straight down the middle. Jason Steele was playing mind games with him. He's pointing to the left. Steele dived to his left and he went right down the middle, and he is really like a London bus as Raheem Sterling comes off and Cole Palmer comes on. Cole Palmer, who picked up a knock during training in the latter stages of this week, he's coming on to replace Raheem Sterling, and I thought he was going to come on to take the penalty. He's so confident from 12 yards out, but Enzo Fernandez is like the London buses around southwest London. You wait so long for one, and he does it twice. His second ever Premier League goal, Adrian Mariappa, and he'll be enjoying his Sunday afternoon now.
He will be delighted with that. You know, he's had a good game all round as well. He's had a lot of defending to do, but he's done that diligently and done that really well. But a little brace for him today. Probably couldn't have asked for much more so far.
Brighton on the attack straight away. No rest for them. I still think they have the belief. I don't still think. I know they have the belief installed into them from their Italian manager Roberto De Zerbi that they can come back into this game. 3-1. They're playing with a man advantage. Crossfired in from the left-hand side. I still believe they can. If they can get this next goal, and I think there is another goal in this game. I'll get your thoughts on this in a moment, because they're on the attack down the left-hand side. Milner with a precise cross to the far post. It's shaved off the head of Silva. Out of the penalty area it goes on the right-hand side. Adingra, left-footed ball to the back post this time, but it's cleared away by the Chelsea defence. And Caicedo bursting with energy up to the halfway line. Picks out Jackson. He's offside. Free kick to Brighton right in front of us. Midway inside their own half on this left-hand side. 10-man Chelsea lead by 3-1.
Yeah, Brighton certainly have enough on the pitch to score goals, and you can see that they're confident that they're going to do so. They're really trying to push Chelsea back here, but Chelsea just look dangerous on the counter. Jackson really fancies himself in behind at the moment, and he's just playing on the shoulder. If he can just time his run a little bit better, he doesn't need to go as early as he's going, just when he got caught offside there. And, you know, Chelsea could be in just off one ball.
I think that's when VAR is absolutely brilliant, because I'm one of those commentators. I've watched a lot of football over the years. I like to try and call it as I see it and not rely on the monitors that we have at Premier League games in front of us. And I call that an old-fashioned, I said it in commentary, didn't I? I said to you, Adrian, old-fashioned shoulder barge, brilliant defending from James Milner. But you could see he didn't do that. He was actually protecting Jason Steele and the ball without actually going for the ball, and he used his body and pushed Mudryk out the way. And VAR, rightly so, said penalty, and Chelsea are leading now by 3-1 as Mitoma has it left side of the area, a couple of yards away from dead ball line, twists one way and the other. He goes down just on the edge of the 6-yard box. Is cleared away by the Chelsea defence, only as far as Gilmour, and the ball's out of play. It'll be a throw-in for Chelsea. Referee says wait. Is it a free kick for Chelsea? Gross is in conversation with him. Going back to that VAR, that's when I think VAR is a very good tool.
Yeah, because like you said, from open play, the way that we was looking at it, just looks like Milner gets his arm across to try and shepherd it back to the keeper, something that defenders, you know, have been doing all game today, and you know, it's a tactic used by many defenders. But I think what it was the step across. He goes almost out of line of the way that he's running to step across Mudryk, but he hasn't timed it well, and that's when he's ended up bringing Mudryk down because of the tangle of legs. So, you know, VAR's come in trumps that time, definitely.
I still think there's a twist and a turn in this game, Adrian Mariappa. That's the voice of the former Premier League defender with Reading, Crystal Palace and Watford. Over 150 appearances in the top flight, and now currently playing his football for Salford City in League 2. Bournemouth leading Aston Villa. That's a surprise by 2-1. Solanke with the goal in the second half. Liverpool 2, Fulham 2 still, and it's West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 1. You can hear Bournemouth and Villa, West Ham and Crystal Palace on the BBC Sport app, and Liverpool Fulham over on 5 Live. We're here on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. FA Cup second round action to follow us, but here come Brighton on the attack. Ball played into the near post, cleared partially. Gilmour with the first time effort, blocked by Thiago Silva, and it's a free kick for Chelsea on the edge of their own penalty area. Push down was Fernandes, and Chelsea, who were playing with 10 men, their captain was sent off just before half-time. A second yellow card for Conor Gallagher. They lead Brighton by 3-1. Just very briefly once again, Bournemouth leading Aston Villa 2-1. That's over on the BBC Sport app. West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 1. That is also on the BBC Sport app. On 5 Live, Liverpool 2, Fulham 2, and Man City Tottenham to follow at 4:30 on 5 Live, and here on 5 Sports Extra. 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 1, and it's been a good game after a very quiet, I'd say, first 20 minutes until that first goal from Enzo Fernandez after 17.
Yeah, it was a tentative start, wasn't it? I mean, you could tell Chelsea were a little bit nervous. You could feel it in the crowd as well. But also, you know, Brighton, you know, were just trying to feel their way into the game as well. But the way that Chelsea have you know, adopted their game plan for this game, you know, like I said, setting traps to try and win the ball, and then, you know, fast breaks on the counter. You know, it's been really good to watch. They've looked really solid, even now when, you know, they're down to 10 men, having to defend for their lives at times, and, you know, put their body on the line. There's great work being done by all the team. You know, they've really bought into the tactics today.
So Nicholas Jackson coming off, slight tweak to the formation. Forward for a a left-sided player in Ian Maatsen, young man, Dutch player from the Netherlands, part of the academy here at Chelsea, was on loan at Burnley last season. I've seen him on loan at Coventry as well. So the front man comes off, Adrian Mariappa, and there'll be a change in formation because Ian Maatsen plays generally down the left-hand side. He's lined up on the right-hand side in front of me, but he can play almost anywhere down the left-hand side as a left back, left wing back, or even a left midfielder.
Yeah, and it looks like they're just changing to a back three or a back five. Maatsen's come out to this right wing back position, and Disasi has just been pushed in one to right side centre half by the looks of it at the moment.
Do you play in a back four or five at Salford?
We play both, and sometimes change in and out of possession, and that's something you see common now, throughout the leagues in football, having to be adaptable.
Chelsea gave the ball away. Pedro marches forward. He's their top scorer in all competitions. Him and their Silva grappling, and Gilmour went in like a small lightweight against Ian Maatsen, and even smaller, almost like a featherweight size. And Gilmour let Maatsen know. He said, "Welcome to the game." Clattered into him right below us here, midway inside Chelsea's half. It's a free kick to Chelsea because it was a foul by João Pedro, the Brazilian, on his fellow countryman Thiago Silva. But that was a thunderous challenge from Billy Gilmour, and you're smiling while I'm shuddering.
It was a tasty one. Maatsen was up for the challenge as well, so it's good to see just two young players having a go, having a good honest tackle, and just carrying on after. Thiago Silva just before that showing his Brazilian teammate why he's so good. He just read João Pedro so well there, gets his body in front and wins a free kick.
Yeah, Brighton at the moment are playing Ferguson down the middle, Pedro slightly to the left, almost in line with Mitoma, and then Adingra up on the right hand side. Very attacking lineup from Brighton. They are trailing by 3-1. We're into the final 20 minutes of the game, over the 20-minute mark. They're down to 10-man Chelsea by those 3-1. Mitoma tried to lay it back to Milner, but he shortchanged it. Cole Palmer pickpocketed Milner, the more experienced fellow England player, and it runs out of play. Cole Palmer made his debut for his country during the last international break. Just rolls his shorts down even further. You can't see a bit of skin on him at all apart from his hands. His shirts are over his long pulled up white socks. He's feeling the cold, isn't he? He's a northerner. He shouldn't be feeling the cold, old Cole Palmer.
He is fit. Well, he's been in London now a few months.
Yeah.
So and they do say it's a lot warmer down here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Still latest scores in the Premier League. 1-1 between West Ham and Crystal Palace. Liverpool and Fulham is 2 apiece. Bournemouth leading Aston Villa 2-1, and Chelsea, 10-man Chelsea leading Brighton by 3-1. And at the moment, Brighton, when they go forward, they're running out of ideas at the moment, lacking that final pass. I think over anxious at times going forward. They know they've got a man superior. They know they if they get the next goal, they're right back in the game. But I feel they're over anxious with their attacking play.
Yeah, they have forced a couple of passes in, but I don't think they'll change from the way that they are playing. They're going to still keep doing what they're doing because they believe in it. Like we said earlier, they've got enough on the pitch to go and score a goal, but Chelsea are looking comfortable in a 5-3-1 shape at the moment. They're plugging up all these gaps and happy to defend their box.
Yeah, Pedro slices the ball out towards Adingra, just on the edge of the penalty area, right hand side, try to pick out Gilmour, well defended by Palmer. That was a loose forward ball to Fernandes, picked off by Milner, and Brighton restart again midway inside Chelsea's half, just right of centre. It's Van Heck right on the edge of the penalty area, and now cross comes in from the right hand side, headed away powerfully by Thiago Silva. Jumping Thiago Silva, both feet came off the ground. Mudryk in a traffic of players, green and black shirted players of Brighton, and Mitoma has it left hand side. Now Pedro slips as he puts a low ball in to the edge of the 6-yard box. Maatsen controls very calmly, plays the ball left to right outside the penalty area. Now Palmer goes down. Slippery surface all of a sudden here at Stamford Bridge on 5 Live Sports Extra. Low ball in to the near post by Adingra. Gets it back right side of the penalty area. Now to Ferguson. Ferguson tries to use his muscle, but Badiashile was up to the task and he clears away left footed out of play for a throw into Brighton. Chelsea lead by 3-1.
Yeah, Badiashile, some great defending there. I just think Chelsea are happy to defend the way they are. The balls aren't really, flashing across the front of them, so they're having to make decisions or really being whipped in with any real pace at the moment. So they're just happy just to sit in there and just defend what's coming their way.
Yeah, 14 minutes to play. Here comes Matona towards the dead ball line, tries to force a cross, comes off the back of Maatsen, and it's cleared away by Caicedo, only as far as Van Heck. Van Heck, who is a centre half, is playing almost like a central midfielder. Pedro dinks the ball into the penalty area once again. Thiago Silva's there. He heads it away powerfully up towards the direction of the halfway line, but Brighton sweep forward right below us here on the left hand side. Nice 1-2 between Matona and Pedro. Pedro runs into Caicedo, and Chelsea win the ball back in their blue shirts and shorts and white socks, and they win a free kick, and a slight breather for everyone who's got a Chelsea persuasion, where there's a lot of people inside Stamford Bridge. 39,647 is the attendance, and a free kick to Chelsea, and they lead Brighton by 3-1.
Yeah, you can see just Brighton getting a little bit frustrated now, struggling to really penetrate that back five. But Chelsea, I think, are just finding it a little bit harder to get out of their half at the moment. Mudryk, the only one with the real blistering pace at the top. Now that Sterling and Jackson have gone off.
Yeah, he fires it back to Palmer. Palmer right side of the penalty area, forced outside the box just for a moment. He rolls it all the way to Caicedo. Caicedo being encouraged to shoot right-footed, always going wide. Central air of the pitch, 25 yards out of the target, and he didn't trouble Jason Steele, the Brighton goalkeeper. Following us on 5 Sports Extra, as soon as we wrap up here at Stamford Bridge, round 2 of the FA Cup. Wrexham against Yeovil. Wrexham of League 2 up against Yeovil of the National League South. I remember when I was a wee boy listening to Yeovil's games and watching them. They were real giant killers of the FA Cup. They're up against Wrexham, and I'll give you some highlights of the FA Cup draw in a moment when I get a breather, because Brighton have the ball, and Mauricio Pochettino on the edge of his technical area, arms folded in a dark overcoat. He's slightly pensive at the moment because Brighton on the attack down the right hand side. It's behind Gross, but Pedro picks it up. Pedro trying to create some space, rolls it out to Milner. Pedro comes in field. Now Milner has it again, left hand side, puts a nice ball in towards the Adingra, right footed volley all the way back out to Milner. Milner's offside. That was really badly miscued by Simon Adingra, and Milner was offside, and it's a free kick to Chelsea in their right full back area. Just very quickly looking now, Brighton have only lost 3 games in the Premier League, to West Ham at home, and then Aston Villa, that was a real thumping, and Man City, and they're coming close to losing a 4th.
Yeah, they've, out of those games you said there, obviously West Ham beginning the season, just coming off the back of, winning a European trophy. Man City's always going to be a tough game anyway, and then the Villa game, just you can write that off as one of those games. We don't see your Brighton team go down that way. So today Chelsea have had to be good, and they've really deployed their game plan really well, and it's worked. And even like now, you can see the way they're working for each other. I talked earlier about Reece James in his programme notes talking about a reaction and a performance after that Newcastle game, and you can see from minute 1 every player had the bit between their teeth. There was a little bit of tastiness in the tackles, and you can see that they've reacted in the right way.
So Armando Broja comes on for Mykhailo Mudryk. He's had a good afternoon, hasn't he, Mudryk? He's played well. He's been dangerous. I think the best piece of play without the goals was Mudryk's when he drifted in, he fired in the shot from 25 yards out, and he won the penalty as well. Yeah, certainly. The couple of times he's been able to really show his pace as well. You can see he has blistering pace, and he showed that for the penalty. And obviously at the moment that's a massive moment in this game. And could be getting them all 3 points as well. So he's had a good game. He's had to do a lot of defending as well, because like I said, Brighton have controlled large portions of this game in possession. 9 minutes to play on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Matoma with the ball, herring towards the dead ball line, gets his cross in. It bobbled into the near post. It's hacked away by the Chelsea defence. It's a corner to the visitors. Brighton in front of their travelling support in the shed end. the lower and the upper tier on the left-hand side. They occupying half of the shed, and the other half is to the Chelsea supporters. Corner to be taken right-footed by Gross towards the far post. Header comes in. It was Matoma who was lurking at that far post, but it was right into the chest of the 6'5" Robert Sanchez, and he bowls it out to Matson. Just let you know, in the FA Cup third round, these two sides, Chelsea will be at home to Preston North End in the opening weekend of January, and Brighton will travel to Stoke City of the Championship. So Stoke against Brighton, Chelsea against Preston North End in the FA Cup. The other highlights: Arsenal are at home to Liverpool, and Sunderland will take on Newcastle, and Wigan and Manchester United will meet, and Man City, the holders, will be taking on Huddersfield as Matoma tries to creep in at the far stick with the head at the far post, and Cole Palmer gets there. Cole Palmer, nice turn one way then the other, gets away from Ferguson and just clears into the Chelsea dugout. Good play from Cole Palmer, Adrian Mariappa.
Yeah, great play. Just a nice little Cruyff turn to dummy his player there, but he's had to do a lot of defensive work since he's come on, and he's done that really well. He's tracking his man. He's doubling up with Matson on this side as well against Matoma. So he's had a real good performance when he's come on.
Still time for Brighton, trailing to 10-man Chelsea by 3-1. And they have possession of the ball on the left-hand side. Pedro with the little flick, wins it back, goes down. Oh, the referee. Oh, I'm not so sure about that. The referee and got himself past Fernandez, went down very easily, and the referee, without hesitation, pointed to the free kick.
There was a slight bit of contact from João Pedro there, but it's a brilliant nutmeg. I think he set himself up with a shot there and probably realised the ball had just travelled a bit far, bought the contact. Now they've got a free kick in a really dangerous position. But João Pedro's looked really sharp since he's come on. He looks like he's a threat. He's popping out into the pockets as well to get the ball. Can't help but feel if Brighton are to get back into it, he's going to be, at the source of that.
A slight drizzle now, turning into a heavy drizzle, and Igor Julio has made way for the young Benico Baker Boiti, who's making his Premier League debut for Brighton. Roberto De Zerbi is really enthused about their academy, and it's a young player coming from that academy who's started on straight into the penalty area as the rain trickles down from the dark clouds above. Cole Palmer is lying down behind the wall. It's a 5-man strong wall with the two Brighton players to the right. It's Gross and Milner over the ball, central area of the pitch, 25 yards away. Gross left of the ball, Milner in a straight run up to it, but it's left to Gross, right-footed, through the wall, but taken nicely by Robert Sanchez, low down to his left-hand side, right on his chest. He splays out his legs behind him, and good save, and it was a crowded wall area, including two Brighton players, but good goalkeeping by Robert Sanchez, falling down on his knees, Adrian, with his back two legs just spread out behind him.
I think it was a comfortable save in the end, but I think the ball's come through a crowd of players as well, so he has made everything he's had to do today look fairly comfortable, apart from the one that went under his foot earlier on.
Still Bournemouth leading Aston Villa 2-1, West Ham 1-1, Liverpool 2-2, and here it's 3-1 to Chelsea. As once again across from the right hand side is cleared away by the Chelsea defence. Brighton have possession. It's whispering around Stamford Bridge at the moment. The crowd are quiet, watching on, seeing their 10-man Chelsea lead Brighton by 3-1. Brighton on the attack on the right hand side. Adingra rolls it back to Veltman. Infield it goes to Van Heck, who is a centre half but playing as a central midfielder. It's played towards Leonard. It was a shot from the left hand side. I thought it was Ferguson. It actually was Gross. It took a deflection, spinned up into the midriff of Robert Sanchez, and that was comfortable in the end. It's slippery out there now with the rain as well, Adrian. The shots are coming in. It's deflected from the underneath of Badiashile off his glutes, and well taken by Robert Sanchez.
It was, even though it was straight at him, he did make it look very, very comfortable. but Brighton having real trouble just, creating anything of real note. It's all shots coming through bodies. But Chelsea, just defending that last line really well. They're plugging all the gaps, and they're making it really, really hard for Brighton to get through.
The rain's turned heavier now, just as full time's approaching. Van Heck out to Milner into the final few minutes. We'll have quite a bit of stoppage time as well. There's been a few changes. Matoma with some space left hand side. He goes down. Maatsen just moves away as if to say, I didn't touch him. The referee's having a word. I think he might even book Matoma for a dive, and that posse of players have crowded around him. I think the VAR referee's in his ear. Matoma and Maatsen challenging for the ball, but for me Matoma goes down way too easily. The referee shrugged him away, and I think it will be a goal kick. And it's 10-man Chelsea still leading Brighton by 3-1. And Matoma, you really don't want to see that. He was buying that penalty, wasn't he? Just went down way too easily. I thought he got the better of Maatsen, but the ball overran him, and then he said, okay, I'm going to flop on the left side of my body.
I think Maatsen done really well. They just got his arm across, which stopped Matoma's momentum, but then Matoma's then tried to buy a bit of contact to win a penalty, and I think the referee's done the right thing there. It's good defending from Maatsen. He realised he probably weren't going to get there, but that's just what I was talking about earlier, about what James Milner was trying to do. Just shepherd him away and just kill the momentum from Matoma trying to get the ball there.
Brighton, the only side in the Premier League who've this double stat, no clean sheets, but they've scored in all of their Premier League games. No clean sheet today, and they've scored today. They're trailing by 3-1 into the last minute of the game, well taken by Sanchez at his far post. And Brighton got the better of Chelsea twice last season. Chelsea were under different managers for both of those games, but not today. Doesn't look like that way. It has to be a real turnaround if they're to get 2 goals in these final few minutes. Waiting for the fourth official to show us as we approach the 90th minute. We're into the final minute of the game. Conor Gallagher, their captain, was sent off for a second yellow card just before half time. It was 2-1 at the break, and we thought Brighton would have a real chance in the second half, but Chelsea have played well, haven't they, Adrian, in this second 45 minutes?
They've played really well. They understood the assignment of this second half, and they've done it really, really well. And just looking at Thiago Silva there, he's like a coach on the pitch. He is literally telling everyone where to go. His hands are just pointing to everyone. He's getting frustrated with people who aren't in their positions already, and you can just see the shape that they've played with. They've plugged all the gaps, and they're just pushing Brighton into those wider areas, but they've always looked confident and they've always looked comfortable.
Just waiting for the fourth official to show us how many minutes of stoppage time we'll have at the end of this game on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Premier League football, 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Matoma with the cross to the far post. It's taken a couple of deflections. It's cleared away by Badiashile. Van Heck gets there. He's been a midfielder for the last 20 minutes. We've got 10 minutes to play. Shot comes in. Good save from Sanchez. Low down to his right-hand side. The shot from the edge of the penalty area through a forest of bodies. Sanchez saw it late, turned it around the post for a corner to Brighton. They've taken it quickly. We're into the 10 minutes. Milner inside the penalty area, left-hand side. Dink cross to the far post. Adingra controls. Gross, left-footed strike, takes a deflection, spins out of play. It's a corner to Brighton, and they've been given renewed hope. Adrian Mariappa, I'll bring you in shortly because the corner's taken quickly. Gross out to Adingra. He has some space just outside the penalty area, right-hand side. Shakes to put a cross in, does so left-footed to Pedro. Pedro with the header. Doesn't get the direction, gets the power, but it's taken a deflection. Corner to Brighton.
Oh, that save by Sanchez. Great save. He had to be we said before, everything that had come at him so far just been straight at him, but that one definitely was in the corner. He got a good strong hand to it to tip it round the post, but it is back to the wall stuff now for Chelsea.
Liverpool 2, Fulham 3. That's over on 5 Live. Corner taken into the near post. Oh, it's gone in at the far post. It's been deflected in. Pedro's claiming it, but it doesn't matter because Brighton are right back in the game and they've got plenty of time to search out an equaliser. Corner, floated into the near post. Pedro's claiming it. It's Chelsea, 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 2.
And Chelsea have looked confident defending crosses all game, but that one, I don't know if it's a deflection off a defender or João Pedro actually got a flick on that. I think he did, and it was a great finish. I mentioned earlier, he's been threatening, he's looked sharp in this game, so it's a great header, flicks it on at the near post, goes straight in at the back post, and now we've got a game on because there's 8 minutes left in this game, and all the ascendancy is now with Brighton.
So in the 92nd minute, João Pedro with the goal, his 5th Premier League goal of the season. He's a leading scorer for Brighton in all competitions. He's enjoying himself in the Europa League. Chelsea player is down. Nervous tension around Stamford Bridge. It's set Chelsea, 10-man Chelsea 3. I need to keep repeating that in commentary because that is hugely important. And Brighton 2, and we've played 2 minutes of the 10. Thiago Silva just rolled over the back of Milner. No, it's Amanda Broja who rolled over the back of James Milner, and he will be okay. And I think the way Adrian and I are sitting in the lower tier of the main stand, right over the halfway line, I think our body position, Adrian, is going to be over to that left-hand side and the shed end for the remainder of this game.
I'm sure it's been a long half already for these Chelsea players, but it's going to be a long 8 minutes. They've had to do a lot of defending. We said they've been defending, with their bodies on the line, but we can expect a lot more of that now. I think most of their pace has gone off the pitch at the top for Chelsea, so they haven't been able to get out as easily as they were when they had Jackson and Sterling, etc. on the pitch. So now they're going to have to really just defend as a group.
Referee's telling Broja to come off the pitch because he was injured. He has to wait for 30 seconds to re-enter. That means Chelsea will be down to 9 men. And I know, and it's not just me, I'm sure you know as well, Adrian, Roberto De Zerbi will know they'll be playing against 9 men for the next 30 seconds because they'll have to be off the pitch for the next 30 seconds. They want to win the ball and get up the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. So, Chelsea now will be defending 5, in a shape of 5-3. That is it. You see Cole Palmer there just pretty much on himself, just trying to retain the ball at the top of the pitch and now trying to press, but the rest of the team are just sitting off now. You can imagine now Chelsea are just going to be, they're going to be creeping back. The tough thing for them now is to be trying to stay as far up the pitch as they can.
Yeah, Cole Palmer with an effort from the arc of the centre circle. He saw Jason Steele off his goal line, but it was taken by Steele quite comfortably just right of his penalty spot. Broja's back on. So it's 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 2. Premier League football on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. A real fascinating final 7 minutes here at a rain-swept and slightly cold now Stamford Bridge. Premier League football. Gripping stuff. Brighton have possession with Van Heck. And now into Gilmour inside the centre circle. Creeping inside Chelsea's half. Milner rolls it on to Matoma. Matoma's seen loads of the ball since he's come on in the second half. Milner again. Now to Pedro, the goal scorer, the Brazilian. He comes infield. Rolls it back to Van Heck. He fires it out to Milner, level with the edge of the penalty area. Deep inside Chelsea's half, onto Matoma. Matoma attacks the dead ball line, tries to get the cross in. It's squeezed off Disasi into the lower tier of the shed end. And the Brighton supporters, they hurry to give the ball back. Corner to Brighton. Chelsea lead by 3-2.
Yeah, Brighton are really pushing. They're really pushing. They've been terrific today. They've retained the ball so well, been very, very patient, stuck to their game plan. And at the moment, it's come up trumps for them in regards to them getting back into this game. So especially the subs that were made early on in the second half, they've all made a real difference in this game for Brighton.
Liverpool have equalised. It's 3 apiece at Anfield, finished at the London Stadium. West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 1. Here comes the corner to the near post. It's headed away. Adingra has it. He flights the ball into the near post. Sanchez takes it really well. He actually shoulder barged the actual post itself, collected it. His 6'5" frame coming into use, and he slides onto his stomach on the edge of the 6-yard box. 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 2.
Yeah, Sanchez, after that little bit of the nervy start he had, he's had to be composed, and you can see he's full of confidence. Took the ball well, and then just boots the ball off the pitch.
5 minutes to play. De Zerbi staring out one of the Chelsea assistants. He wanted the ball quickly back into play. Liverpool have scored a fourth now at Anfield. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Liverpool 4, Fulham 3. That's over on 5 Live. We're 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Bournemouth 2, Aston Villa 2. 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 2. Chelsea defending to our left-hand side below the shed end. Here at Stamford Bridge, it's pouring down with rain. Matoma, left side of the penalty area, dinks it out to Milner. Milner looks up, measures across to the far post, controlled by Adingra. Adingra rolls it back to Pedro, but sliding challenge from the 39-year-old Brazilian, Thiago Silva. He got there before his fellow Brazilian. Cross-fired in, headed away by Maatsen. Upwards and forwards, Maatsen has it. Down this right-hand side, rolls it to Palmer, collects it back and fires it right-footed straight to a Brighton player. It's all action here at Stamford Bridge. Adrian Mariappa.
Yeah, Thiago Silva had to draw on all his experience to read the game there, but Matoma just looks so dangerous. Every time he gets the ball, you feel like he's going to get tackled, and he's just past one player, and then if he needs to go past another one, he's past them as well. You know, his dribbling really is something else. Final
3 minutes of 10 that have been added on at the end of this game. 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 2, and Brighton are pouring forward. Every single Chelsea player behind the ball defending their penalty area. Matoma now rolls it back out to Veltman. Carefully down the right hand side they come with Adingra. Adingra onto Gross. Gross puts a low ball in. Ferguson with an audacious back heel. It was behind him, so he flicked it with his back heel, and Sanchez takes it on his chest. And once again, in that fashion that goalkeepers do, he lies on the ball for a few seconds, his legs splayed out behind him, takes his time to the edge of his penalty area and clears right-footed up and over the halfway line, deep towards Chelsea's right fullback, Brighton's right fullback area, and it's cleared away by Steele to Milner, onto Mitoma in front of Maurizio Pochettino, fired first time to Pedro, left hand side, midway inside Chelsea's half. He needs support. He finds support in Matoma. Matoma has some space, a yard away from the dead ball line in front of the Brighton supporters. To our left inside the shed end. Milner now into Pedro. Pedro turns one way. Left-footed strike. Good save by Sanchez. Low down to his left-hand side. He took that really well. I don't think he saw that until the last few seconds. A fantastic save by Robert Sanchez on a greasy, slippery surface. 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 2.
Yeah, this 3 on this side who came on, Matoma, Milner and João Pedro, have linked up really well on Brighton's left-hand side. So a lot of the good stuff they're doing is just coming through them. João Pedro with a great turn and shot there. I think he'd be disappointed he didn't get a little bit more on it. Ended up being quite comfortable with Sanchez, but he had to have his wits about him.
Chelsea supporters getting behind their team. Their team need them. They've been playing with 10 men for the whole of the second half. They're hanging on now, leading by 3-2. We're into the final minute of the 10 that have been added on by Craig Pawson. And once again, Adingra controls the looping ball on his chest, puts a cross in. It's come off Colwell. It's out of play. It's a penalty. Is that a penalty or is it a corner? Confusion here. We're all waiting. Roberto De Zerbi, I can see him. We're not quite sure. Craig Pawson's having a word. What do you think, Adrian, here? Hands on his hips. We're all in confusion. Sanchez is telling the Chelsea players to go away.
It looked like handball, maybe. That's what everyone is appealing for. I don't know if it hits Colwell on the head or on his hand here.
Well, the cross came in from the right-hand side. It's come off, according to what I can see from the replay in front of me. It's come off his head. It's fired in from the right-hand side. It's definitely inside the penalty area. We're all waiting because the VAR is checking this. My stopwatch says we've played the 10 minutes of time added on. This is either going to be a dramatic penalty in the 100th minute or it's going to be a corner, and Craig Pawson is running over to the pitch side monitor below the West End in this sweeping rain here at Stamford Bridge to look at the replay. What are your thoughts, Adrian Mariappa?
Yeah, it looks to me like it's come off his face, but then his hand, Cole's hand is up by his head. Now, if you're defending a cross and your hand is up, you're just running the risk there. You're running the risk of the ball coming off your hand if it comes anywhere near you, and that's what, from where I was, it looked like a handball. and that's where all the Brighton players were appealing.
Here comes Paulson, he blows his whistle, shapes the figure of the television. I'm still confused, still not quite sure. He's pointed out towards a corner. It's a corner, and that's the cheers, almost as if Chelsea have scored. We're seeing the replay again. My initial thought, and I'll stick to it, it came off the side of his head, and not clear directions really from Craig Pawson as he ran away from the pitch side monitor. Now he picks up the ball. He's got the ball inside the penalty area. Confusion all around. Not quite sure what he's done, if he's blown for full time. It's definitely not a penalty. He's got the ball. He's in conversation with Thiago Silva and Robert Sanchez. And now Evan Ferguson goes over towards him. Brighton players have marched up to the halfway line, a few of them to defend Amanda Broja. There's real confusion around Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, those Brighton players really don't look happy. I mean, from the replay, it clearly looks like the ball's come off Colwell's head, so I don't think that's what they're now arguing about. But I couldn't tell you what is going on right now. I have no idea.
So if it came off Colwell and it went out to play, it should be a corner, but it's been dropped to Robert Sanchez. Play's been restarted. No penalty, no corner. I don't get that. If it's not a penalty, fair enough, but it should have been a corner because it came off his head and it went out to play. Restarts carried on now. Sanchez, let's carry on with the commentary, because I think we'll have still 30 or more seconds to play. Whistles all around Stamford Bridge. Maurizio Pochettino leading them right on the edge of his technical area. Just sorting out his hair under the wet clouds here in West London. 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 2. It's been a real classic second half, without a shadow of a doubt. Here come Brighton, forward down the right-hand side. It's taken a deflection. It's a goal kick. No, I thought it would have been a corner, but it's a goal kick. And I think Chelsea are about to claim 3 points for the first time since the 25th of August. And there's some pushing and shoving now with João Pedro, and he's been shown a yellow card. And his fellow Brazilian countryman Thiago Silva didn't want to get involved. João Pedro was frustrated, and the referee has shown a yellow card to João Pedro. And I think from this restart, Adrian Mariappa, if I know referees, he'll blow up, it'll be full time, and Stamford Bridge will hear the loudest cheer of the afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. That was crazy. But like I said, I'm not sure if the referee had blown for the handball. That's why he had to then give a drop ball after that. That's the only thing I can think of.
Well, we're back underway. Referee hasn't blown up, so I don't know all referees are across the country. Craig Pawson surprised me. Gilmore now onto Matona. Sliding challenge from Disasi. He cheers like he scored a goal. 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 2. Football on 5 Live. Premier League Sunday. There goes the full-time whistle. And it's all 3 points for 10-man Chelsea. They've beaten Brighton by 3 goals to 2. A real classic football match in the second half. They played with 10 men throughout the second 45 minutes. They extended their lead to 3-1 from the penalty spot after Mudryk was hauled down from James Milner. And then João Pedro pulled one back in the 92nd minute. And we had dramatic scenes right at the end. And now I can see Maurizio Pochettino. Is it him getting involved with the referee and some Brighton players? There's some pushing and shoving going on. Midway inside the half that Chelsea were defending, the referee's been crowded by Chelsea and Brighton players. Maurizio Pochettino was first at the scene. Now I can see Jason Steele there and 4-5 Chelsea players, and slowly they're being ushered away. The referee is being surrounded by stewards, and not nice scenes here at the end of the game. But Chelsea, Adrian Mariappa, I think it's calmed down now, and there's still some pushing and shoving going on between some Chelsea and Brighton players. I think it was Badiashile and Gilmore now. But Chelsea have run out winners for the first time since late August here at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. 10-man Chelsea have beaten Brighton by 3-2.
Yeah, they'll be relieved to get that victory under their belt at home, but a real gritty defensive display, and it had to be that second half. Down to 10 men, backs against the wall against a team that controlled so much possession. Brighton were really good that second half. They really pushed all the way, to the very, very last minute. But for, could have been, but for it coming off Colwell's head, never knew, could have ended up a penalty. They could have got back in the game and got a draw out of it. But they'll feel disappointed, but because they played really, really well. But Chelsea will take a lot of confidence from that. Defending to a man as a team. Really stuck to their guns today.
Robert Sanchez was involved in that melee, the former Brighton goalkeeper. It was hard luck for Brighton in the end. They did go pouring forward. There was real controversy at the end with that handball decision, which was ruled again with a cross from the right hand side. The referee didn't give it, but in the end, deserved winners Chelsea.
Yeah, I think so. I think we said in the beginning of the game, we knew what kind of game this was going to be. Brighton were going to dictate from the back, and I think Chelsea were happy to let them have that. And they were really good on the counter. And then going down to 10 men, they're never going to have the lion's share of possession, especially at that time. But I thought they defended really, really well. But I take my hats off to Brighton as well, because I thought they were really good today. Some of the football that they play is really good, and especially when they made those subs in the second half, the difference that they made as well. So when they get everyone back off from their injury list, they're going to be a real tough team to play against for everyone in the Premier League.
Thank you, Adrian. Enjoyed that.
Oh, that was brilliant. Brilliant. Glad we got some goals this time. Last 2 games, no. Snore draws.
Was a really good afternoon. I'll just run through the Premier League scores at full time. Bournemouth 2, Aston Villa 2, West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 1. Liverpool, who were trailing by 3-2 at home to Fulham, ran out winners by 4-3, and finished here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 10-man Chelsea 3, Brighton 2, and now there's more live.